Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my second and final drills video. I'm recording this intro section after I finished the entire recording besides this, so do keep in mind that I may repeat a couple of times, especially towards the beginning of the video where I say, hey, this character isn't going to show up in the next video because, there's not that much else to talk about. Just know this is the last drills video. With this one and the last one, your defense against basically every character in the game should be pretty impeccable as long as you're properly reacting to and punishing what I'm showing you. Beyond that, these take forever to make. I've been working on this for the better part of a couple of weeks, finding the moves that I want to show you guys, finding the situations, and then just having the time. This last couple of months has been incredibly busy for me. As a consequence, like, subscribe, all that stuff really helps me a lot, and it makes it a lot easier to do all of this. Again, these take a ton of work, and this last couple of months were pretty rough for me, like just time investment wise, so it is what it is. The only other thing I want to say is that the drills in this video should be incorporated with the drills from the last video. If there's a character that you're struggling, do not just rip the drills from this video and say, why can't I beat this character? Pick the moves that you're struggling with from this second set and add them to the moves that you're struggling with from the first set. That's going to be the best way to improve, and that's the best way to just look at these drills in particular. I think that's it. Oh, there's also a couple characters I don't have 8 moves for. Kazuya just doesn't have that many moves. So, I can't have 8 moves for a character that has 10 moves that do anything, right? But yeah, let's just get into the video. Alright, first up, we're going to talk about Alisa. Alisa has a few more interesting things for us to talk about, so let's get into it. First, we have 2-2. You just want to duck this first hit. This is very, very hard to duck in a real game. Again, this is coming from a 12-frame startup move, so this is very, very hard to duck, but you do want to practice ducking this, as a lot of Alisa players will just rip that. So being able to get a punish there is pretty good. Next, we will be talking about up forward 3-2. After the first hit, you just want to step left, and that's pretty much it. You step left, dash in, and launch. Because of the side switch, it can be pretty awkward to actually punish this. But yeah, you just want to sidewalk left or step left, dash in, and launch. This can technically be mixed with up forward 3, and then as they land, they'll press 3 to go into boot, and then they can press 1 to do the fastest option, which is 13 frames. In which case, as soon as you hear this sound cue, you want to interrupt with the down forward 1. So when you have them both on, it'll look like this. Right, so that's what it looks like. Not too bad at all. A lot of Alisa players will use that as like a mix-up, and as you can see, there is no mix-up there. Very, very powerful counterplay. Next, we'll do forward 4-1-4. You just want to duck after the first hit and launch. Yeah, pretty simple. You have a really long time to launch this. Don't be too lazy with it, but you do have a very long time to launch that, so make sure that you are launching it. Next, we're going to have her record forward 1+2, and then tap 3 during the animation to go into boot, and then 1+2 to get this unblockable. You just want to duck this on one reaction. As soon as you see the green sparks, you duck, then you wait for the axes to go over your head, and then you launch. Because you see, if you go too fast, so if you try to mash as soon as you see the green sparks, then you will get hit. So you just wait, green sparks overhead, or as soon as the axes go overhead, then you're good to go. While standing 1, 2, 3, you just want to duck after the first hit and launch. Again, you do want to be pretty quick about this, because if you're late, you will get counter hit launched. So just be pretty quick about this, and you will be good to go. Down forward 3-3, low parry this after the first hit. Super, super simple. Nothing super crazy here. Finally, we have 2-3-3. I also have her delaying the last hit because a lot of Alisa players, especially in high ranks, will use this in the neutral. This last hit is a counter hit launcher, and it's only a -11. So you just want to block this entire thing. You can also sidewalk to the left if you like have a hard read that they're gonna delay it. But if you don't think they're going to delay it, then you just want to block and take your 11 frame punish. A lot of people think this is -12 or 13, but it's not. It's only a -11. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Alisa. Next is Anna. Anna, because she doesn't have that many like strings and real mix-ups, what we're going to talk about here is mostly some situational awareness, where she has some really high level counterplays you can do to option select a lot of supposed mix-ups. It's hard to do it, but that's why I am here to show you. There are still just a couple of like duck and launch strings, but I figured I would show you some cool stuff that I discovered while researching this video. So first, we're gonna have her jab into wall running 3-2. So here you want to duck and then hop kick here. The main reason that you want to do this is that this will launch the low by itself, and if she does any gunshots, you will also launch her finishing the gunshots even when she is in heat. You won't always be able to duck this, obviously, but we have her jab so that you can time your duck with what is going on. So that is the first one. Next, we have down 3-4-1. This is just like Nina string. Even after getting hit by the low, you can duck and launch. Super easy. So yeah, nothing super crazy there. Just want to make sure you're ducking and launching that. 4-2, 1+2. This is her magic 4. She has a magic 4, but this is not hit confirmable. She has to commit to the entire string. So yep, you just wanted to duck after the first hit and launch. So yep, very simple. If you block it, it's also launch, but a really good Anna's can Twitch confirm the last hit because the first two will put you airborne. So they can Twitch confirm the last hit, but generally speaking, you just want to duck the second hit because, again, not everyone has a 15 frame launcher. Okay, so this is going to be very hard for most people to do, but I do think it is worth labbing this because this situation is very common. So you want to press back 3 to put Anna into Chaos Judgment, and then do down forward to have her roll, and then you want to do roll 3 and roll 4. Roll 3, you see she does a fast roll into this mid kick, and roll 4, she does like an extra roll into this hop. So this is like not a mix-up at all. Beyond that, Anna can cancel the roll into full crouch, and then she can press. So I have her doing while standing 3 here because that is the fastest option. What you want to do is if she rolls, you just wait. And if the roll goes on a little bit longer, you duck because it can only be the high. And if she recovers in crouch, you want to sidewalk left, and that will launch, I believe, everything. So again, this is very hard to do, but once you see what it looks like, you'll see that you can completely option select this mix-up. Obviously, I was late on that last launch, but you can see that is a 100% option selectable mix-up. Exceptionally hard to do, but practicing it now is really nice. The thing that is probably worth practicing more than anything is the difference between roll 4 and her canceling into crouch, because this, I think, is the hardest one to react to. Where, you know, if you try to commit to your sidewalk early, you'll just get launched. So yeah, this is really hard to react to. It may even be worth turning off the roll 3 and just working on those two. But yeah, that is a mix-up that you can evade with a very strong defense. Next, we're gonna have her do forward 3+4 into down 3-3. This will put her into Chaos Judgment. What you want to do is you want to sidewalk left and then duck after the low. This second high is homing, and a lot of times you will step the first hit but then not duck in time to actually cover this low. So that's what you want to do. You want to side step duck, and you want to wait for the low to be covered So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the best way to deal with this. Finally, we have down back 3. You just want to duck and watch this on reaction. A lot of Ana players, even in my ranks, will unironically use this. So yeah, definitely good to duck and watch that. So AK is going to be a little bit different than some of the other ones on this video because we kind of exhausted most of AK's stuff. So this is mostly going to be block punishment. So just keep that in mind with this, with AK's stuff in particular. So we're going to start with CD1+2. You just want to duck and watch this on reaction. As soon as you see the red icon show up, you just duck. Very, very simple. Nothing too crazy there. CD2, you want to take your 10 frame punish. Most people don't punish these Wind God Fist type moves because it's very hard to do so. But yep, you can just take your 10 frame punish here. Practice actually punishing the Wind God Fist type moves. 4-3, you just want to duck and launch. Duck after the first hit. Launch this. Very, very simple. AKs will throw this out because this is not hit confirmable and it's a magic 4. So if I key charge here, you see that is a launcher. AK can pick that up. Back 1-2 forward. This is -12, so just take your 12 frame punish. Most people don't punish this, or they try to duck the second hit because AK has a lot of 1-2 punches that do a thing. So make sure you know which one is which. That's why we have this one here. Take your 12 frame punish. Back 3. This goes pretty criminally unpunished. So again, just take your 12 frame punish here. Forward 1+4, take your launch, whatever launch you want to do. So if you want to electric, the electric timing is actually pretty weird here. But yeah, if you want to electric, then you can electric this. If you just want to do an easy punish, you can do that. But yeah, do whatever your biggest punish is, as this is -19. Finally, we're going to look at Giant Swing and Shining Wizard. If you load these from the move list, it's double arm swing for Giant Swing and Brilliant Blower Kick for Shining Wizard. You want to practice telling the difference between these two throws. You can use whatever tell that you would like, but basically the tell that I try to use is Giant Swing is very slightly faster than Shining Wizard, and Shining Wizard, after the throw animation starts, King starts to run up your body. So that's kind of the tell that I use. This is really, really hard to do, but practicing these throws by themselves especially will make it much easier to identify what's going on with these throws. So here for Giant Swing, you can see he just like starts spinning you instantly. He stops and then just starts spinning, right? So the animation is pretty different. And if we look at Shining Wizard, you see he immediately runs up your body instead of that slight delay that he has with Giant Swing. So, like, at least once the animation is started, it's pretty easy to tell which one's which. So if we turn them both on, this is what it looks like. Right? So I just got 5 in a row there. Even practicing this, I'm not going to upload like all of the things trying to get 5 in a row there, but I was breaking that like 60% of the time. So, and I have a little bit of practice doing this because I did this drill before with King a long time ago, but you can practice this. King and Armor King have like different versions of Giant Swing, so you do want to have this same drill for both King and Armor King. So, you know, we're going to show this for both characters. All right, let's talk about Asuka. The first 2 strings are a mix-up, kind of, but not really. So let's talk about them. We have back 4-2. This is -12 on block. The second hit can be delayed quite a bit. We also have back 4-2-3. This last hit cannot be delayed at all, and it's -60. So you want to turn these both on, and then you want to lab reacting to her finishing the string and taking your punish. Jin's 10 frame will reach her. So personally, if I was playing a character with a really good 10 frame, I would just try to 10 frame punish this. That way, if you're late, it's not that big of a deal. But this is what it's going to look like in real time. right? So super easy. Very nice to always get punished there. Back 3, 4. Back 3 by itself is minus 19. But they will sometimes use the 4 because this will let them high crush. So depending on the punish you use, it can actually be relatively difficult to reach this. So you just want to lab whatever your character's punish for this is. If you're playing a character like Lili, if you block this, you can 3-1. And if it whiffs, you can whiff punish with either cartwheel or forward 3. So those are your options. For a character like Jin, if you're really cracked, you can CD1 this. That's really hard to do, but you can CD1 this. Otherwise, Demon Paw is fine, right? You can just Demon Paw. Even on whiff, you can just Demon Paw this. But as you saw, if you're late, this will actually go under your Demon Paw. So, just make sure that you do that. And yeah, that is how you deal with this move. Up, forward, 1, 2 down. The 2 down will cancel this move, which makes this a minus 15 on block. So yeah, if you think she's going to cancel this, which you see a lot outside of Pete, you can just launch this every single time. And she also recovers in crouch. So because she recovers in crouch, it's actually a little bit more minus because she has to stand back up. So I think technically you have like 16 frames here, but if you have a 15 frame launcher, you can just send it and there's not a whole lot she can do about it. Sidestep 2, just take your 13 frame for punish here. This move is incredibly evasive. It feels like she teleports off the screen every time she uses it. So just take your 13 frame punish, whichever punish you decide. Yeah, make sure you do something here because this recovers very quickly. Down back 4, 1+4. After the first hit, you want to low parry. The reason that you want to low parry this is that you can either do another one of these leg cutters, which is the name of this low, or she can convert into a high. So you can low parry both of those options, and the high, you can just convert your low parry into a launch. While standing 1-4, duck and a launch after the first hit. Super simple. Most people don't duck this. Make sure that you are ducking this. Full crouch down forward 3. This is really hard to do, especially if you have a regular sidestep. It's much easier if you have a privileged sidestep. If you have a regular sidestep, then this might not always work. So be mindful of this in a real game. Once you see her hands move, you want to sidestep right. Again, the timing is very sensitive, and this move is still way too fast in my opinion. But yeah, once you see her hands move, from full crouch, you see her start to turn around, that's when you want to sidestep. Again, if you have a privileged sidestep, you can actually go a little bit late and get away from this. But yeah, so this is a move where if you don't have a privileged sidestep, it might even be worth switching this with another move. But I do think it's worth just reacting to this situation and sidestepping here because this move is really powerful if you don't even try to step it. Up next is Azucena. So the first one is forward 3-2. You just want to duck and launch after the first hit. There are a lot of people that like fish with this as a keep out button because its range is pretty generous as you can see. So yeah, you just want to duck and launch that. Next, we have 4-4-3. You want to take your 14 frame punish. I see this go either unpunished or underpunished because a lot of people think this is safe. She also has an orbital where instead of like doing a backflip, she does a front flip. So it can be hard to tell which one's which. Just know the backflip is minus 14. The front flip is minus 7, I think. It's safe either way. 2-on-2, duck after the second hit, and launch. You should always duck here. There is no mix-up, but she might not finish it. You should still always duck, though. Just, make sure that they're not ripping that in your face for free. So next, we have a back 1-1-2. You want to record back 1-1-2, and then you want to record back 1-1-2 back. So this is both of them. So after these first two hits, you can duck, and you can punish. So if you record this one as well, you can see here I will duck and I can punish as well. And I actually have Azucena blocking here. She actually takes a step back. So you just want to lab your character's punish for if she blocks and if she finishes the string. Lili is interesting because she can actually Matterhorn both options, which is really funny. As far as I know, she is the only character that can beat both of these options. Most of the other, if not all of the other, high crushing launchers, they actually don't crush in time to go under that last hit. If you are playing June or Asuka, you can Sabaki, and Azu has to make a really hard call out to beat that. She basically has to do cancel into crouch from back turn. That's a crazy call out. If she does anything else, she either gets hit or she has to block it, which is fine. That's a full reset to neutral. But yeah, outside of these three characters, you just want to duck and take your punish either way. Down 1+2, you just want to duck this on reaction. This is pretty hard to see if you're not looking for it, but it has a very noticeable animation, and you do like 18 damage to her if you break this. So yeah, make sure you are ducking that on reaction. Finally, we have two situations from Lib. First, we're going to make her go into Lib with 4-3+4, and then we'll do Lib 4-1-2. You just want to duck after the first hit here and launch it. Pretty straightforward. Even if she doesn't finish it, you will still be able to launch here, so that is obviously very, very good. There is a mid there, and the mid does wall splat, so be careful if your back's against the wall. If your back is against the wall, you just wait and take your 10 frame, but this does have a decent amount of pushback, so you might not actually be able to punish it depending on the character you're playing. The other situation from Lib is manual liberation, so again, 4-3+4 into Lib down 4-4. You want to duck this on reaction. This sounds hard. If you are looking for this, you can 100% duck this on reaction. This is, again, this is hard to do. This is something that I can do very reliably now because, you know, I have so much Azucena practice. So you can 100% duck and watch that on reaction because she like staggers her movement with the kick. It has a very recognizable animation. Next, we'll talk about Brian. Brian is an interesting one. We have a couple of strings here. The main one being 1-1-2-1, which notably this third hit can be delayed. So this is interesting because you can sidestep this to the left if you think he's going to delay it. So that is really good. You don't have to walk it. You can just sidestep it, which is very, very nice. Beyond that, the mid option is the only one that can be delayed. So if he does the high, or if he does the low, you can just duck these because, again, these can't be delayed, so there's no timing mix-up, right? What I do is I turn all three of these on, and if I see the delay, I will step left, and if not, I'll just duck. This is pretty hard to do, but if you're locked in, you can do it, and again, this will help a lot when dealing with, you know, your Brian opponents, because they like to use this string mix-up quite a bit. Yeah, I didn't launch the last one, but you can see it's not too bad. It's pretty straightforward. Next, we have a couple -10s here. We have a Northern Cross. Just make sure you take your 10 frame punish. This goes under punished by most players. Most players are either late or just let Brian reset here. Now, against higher level Brians, a lot of them will immediately duck. So they'll do something like Northern Cross or while standing 3. And the input for Northern Cross is full cross down forward 4. But they'll use that move and then immediately duck, because if your punish is late, they'll launch your punish. So be very, very careful about punishing this and making sure you're on time whenever you punish this. Same thing is going to be true of the next one, which is while standing 3. A very common flowchart from Brian players is they'll while standing 3 on block into instant crouch while standing 3. If you're late on your punish, you'll get counter hit launched. So make sure you're labbing your punish here and make sure you're getting it consistently. Incinerator, forward 2-1, 2-3-2. This string has been severely nerfed, and as a consequence, this actually has quite a bit of counterplay here. So, what you can do is you have two options. After the fourth hit, you can interrupt here. You interrupt with a 10 frame, because if he stops after the fourth hit, then you still want your 10 frame punish. So you just want to interrupt with any 10 frame natural string here. If you think they're going to finish it, you can sidewalk in either direction. Do note that you will be completely behind Brian, so you'll get a back turn launch. But yeah, if you think they're going to finish it, you sidewalk. If you don't care to take that guess, then you just mash your 10 frame punish here and you are good to go. 3-3-4, a lot of Brian players use this in the neutral because no one ducks this second hit. Yeah, just make sure you're ducking the second hit. If you don't, the last hit is -12, but look how much pushback it has. You're never punishing that. So yeah, just duck after the first hit and launch. Finally, we have QCB 2-4. A lot of Brian players will check with this because you can hit confirm it, which is very, very nice. But the biggest thing about this move is that the second hit is a high, so you can duck it. Make sure you are ducking and launching this. You don't want Brian players to feel comfortable ripping that string. So for Claudio, he doesn't have a big enough move list for me to really do a second set of drills for him. So this set is only going to have 6 moves. First, side step 4, you want to try to low parry this on reaction. This is Claudio's only move that comes out of side step, and I believe it's 21 frames. So this is like relatively easy to low parry if you're looking for it, but you know, you're not always looking for it. So just keep that in mind. On a similar note, we have down back 3. You want to duck this on reaction. Most characters are going to be able to launch it, so just make sure you take your 15 frame punish. This does have a very unique animation. This is basically his only move that has like this crouching startup that is reactable anyways. So yeah, just make sure you are looking for down back 3. 1-3, you want to low parry this on a reaction. This is the classic jab into low poke that I believe every character has, or most characters have. Make sure you're low parrying that on reaction. Next, we have while standing 1-1. You just want to duck and launch after the first hit. Super straightforward. This has a really long ending lag, so you actually have quite a long time to launch this. So make sure you are launching it. Something to keep in mind about this move is that if Claudio has install, they're much more likely to do while standing 1-2, in which case it's the same counterplay as down 1-2. You just want to sidewalk left. So yeah, if he is outside of heat with no install, you want to duck. Any other time, I would just sidewalk left. Next, we have back 4-1 and back 4-2. Now, this is a weird one because you do occasionally want to duck back 4-1 because you can launch this, but it's not always easy to make that commitment when he has a wall splatting mid-mid, right? So what I do is what a lot of Claudio players do rather is they will do back 4-1 into either down back 2-1, which is 11 frame crouch jab with a mid follow-up. I believe this has a counter hit property as well. Yeah, these are both guaranteed on counter hit. So they'll do that, or they will do back 4-1 into 1-2, which will frame drop. So what I like to do is sometimes I'll just commit to stand blocking here, and then if the high comes out, I will low parry, and if the mid comes out, I'll just take my 10 frame punish, or 11 frame because it is technically a -11. Right now, you can. The reason you low parry is because sometimes they'll do the 1-2 jab. So when the 1-2 jab goes over your head, you convert your low parry into a launch. Next, let's talk about Clive. First, we have his 2-2-2. You just want to take your 11 frame for punish here. If you are playing exactly Alisa, you can sidewalk right after the second hit, as that will evade both follow-ups. Next, we have up forward 2. So this is technically a mix-up. There is an easy way to deal with this, and there's a hard way to deal with this. I'm going to show you guys the easy way. So he can do the first hit by itself, or he can do up forward 2, 1+2, which also has the second hit that has a million pushback. What you want to do is you want to turn them both on. You want to crouch after the first hit. If he lands, you want to crouch jab. If he does the high, you want to rip your launcher as he's landing. It's going to look like this. Right? Super, super easy. Once you get used to it, you won't be able to mess that up. Very, very simple. This next one is significantly harder to deal with, but the counterplay is actually exactly the same. So we have the up 1+2 string. This will go into Phoenix Shift. This is a mid here. You can interrupt this, which is nice. However, there is actually a string extension. We can do up 1+2, 2, and then we can do another mid. This is a 15 frame mid. And then, of course, we can finish the string. And if we finish the string, the whole thing is -12. So the easy way of dealing with this is as soon as you see him flash red, meaning he's going into Phoenix Shift, you want to crouch jab. And if he finishes the string, you take your 12 frame punish. If you're really locked in, you can actually hop kick here. And I have Clive set to do his 2 option because it is 15 frames, which is tied for the fastest option, but it's also a mid. So if you're late on the hop kick, you'll get floated. That's how you know if you're doing it right. Yeah, so I'll show you what it looks like with the crouch jab. I tried to do this with the hop kick, and it took me literally a half hour to get it right, to get the timing down pretty consistently. I would not recommend trying to hop kick here unless you're just mashing it. Because they nerfed the last hit of the string, it's actually pretty rare you're going to see Clive finish it. So you want to just mash hop kick after the first or second hit. I think that's totally valid. But yeah, it's tough to get a really huge reward here. This is what it's going to look like with all 3 of them on. Yeah, so not too bad with crouch jab. This is an order of magnitude harder if you try to launch this, though you can do it. I was getting pretty consistent with mine, so it is an option. That's what it's going to look like when you're doing it right. Next, we have his forward 1+4. This is his Zanki Susuken. This is -15. Most people don't know this. I think for a really long time, this was a -14. This is -15. You can launch this, so make sure that you are launching it. If Clive rips it in the neutral, you will occasionally see him try to fish with it from like this range because it has pretty long range. So yeah, you'll see him try to fish with it occasionally. Make sure you're taking your launch punish. And then finally, we have forward 1+2. This is -12. Make sure you are taking your 12 frame punish. Up next is Devil Jin. Back 3. This is a launch. It is a -16. I think it can be up to -18. But depending on how shallow he hits this can actually be -16. So keep that in mind. It can even be as safe as -15. So be very, very careful. Don't try to be a hero because, again, if he hits it shallow, it's not going to be good for you if you rip like a huge launcher and you are wrong. Backboard 2-1. In the last one, I talked about how if he finishes the string, this is a really bad situation for him. If he doesn't finish the string, he's actually +10. So, yeah, you're going to take your 10 frame punish. A lot of the Devil Jin players, especially at higher ranks, they don't finish the string, especially if you're showing them a sidestep left. They just won't finish the string at all. So, that is very, very good. Worth keeping in mind that that is -10. Next, we have While Standing 1-1 and While Standing 1-2. This is a reactable / fuzzy guardable string. When you see him reach his hand back for the shackle, you duck, otherwise you stand block and take your 11 frame punish. Turn them both on, and this is what it looks like. Yeah, so not too bad. Very, very easy fuzzy duck, especially once you use the animation. Next, we're going to go over some of his fly gimmicks. First up is Fly 2. When you see him flash red, you sidewalk in either direction. This actually grabs really late in the animation. So you can see, like, even though, you know, I know what's coming, I am waiting for him to actually flash red before I start my sidestep. I even went a little bit late there. You see, I went pretty late there, but yeah, it doesn't actually grab you until really late in the animation. So yeah, you can just sidewalk on reaction and you'll be good to go. Next, we have Fly 1+2 and Fly Forward 1+2. That is this laser here. You can sidewalk in either direction on reaction, of course. There is some interesting tech here that I would rather show you than explain to you. Yeah, even if you get hit by this, you can actually still run up and launch it. which means that if getting hit by the laser would put you in rage, it may be worth getting hit on purpose to make sure that you can get a big punish here. The same thing is true if he does the side switching laser. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. Good stuff. Finally, there's down forward 1-2. You can just duck after the first hit here. If you duck after the first hit, you can launch. This is technically a mix-up with the down forward 1-4. Down forward 1-4 is a unsafe mid that will wall splat you, but it's not really fuzzy guardable. You just kind of have to hold that, at least in my opinion. All right, now we're on to drag. Most of these are going to be just duck stuff on reaction, but there are a few interesting things here that are worth talking about. First, we have a back 4-3. You do want to practice ducking this. In the last drill, I showed you back 4-2-1, and that you want to duck that third hit. With back 4-3, it's important to make sure you're ducking this against drags that are showing you this a lot. There are a lot of Dragunovs that will just rip, 3 or 4 of these every single round. If that's the case, you want to make sure that you are actually ducking it. So be aware of that. Next, we have 2-1-4. You want to low parry after the second hit. There is also a high follow-up here. If the high goes over your head, you just convert that into a launch, but you do want to make sure that you are low parrying there. Some Dragunovs will use that in the neutral. Next, we have while standing 1-3 and while standing 1-2. This is a fuzzy guardable string. You'll see a lot of Dragunov players use this as like a mix-up in the neutral because they both wall splat. So that is something to keep in mind. Again, this is fuzzy guardable, so you can. This is what the high looks like. The high is much slower than the mid. So turn them both on. This is what it looks like. Yeah, so not too bad. Definitely a good one to learn how to fuzzy duck. 1-3-2, the last hit is a 13-frame launcher. The recover standing. Just make sure that you are actually blocking and punishing this. I've seen a few Dragunovs in God 3, God 4. It's a few specific players that use that string. So just make sure that you are ready for it. I don't really see it in much higher ranks. It's something worth keeping in mind. Down back 3+4, you want to try ducking this on a reaction. This is really, really hard. Even if you know it's coming, it's still pretty hard to duck this on a reaction. But you do want to practice this. I have played against quite a few players when I play drag that can duck this, so like 80% of the time on a reaction once I've used it once or twice. So it is worth practicing, even if you only get it once or twice. That's 90 damage every single time you duck that on reaction, so worth keeping in mind. Back 2-on-3, you just want to duck this second hit. Pretty straightforward here, nothing super crazy. There is a snake edge after, but you just want to duck the second hit. And we have up forward 3+4, duck this on reaction and take your grounded. That's pretty much it. Next, let's talk about Eddy. One of these moves is recycled from the last video, specifically the up forward 1-4, but that's because it is technically a mix-up and it's a reactable mix-up. So we're actually going to talk about that one first. The first move here is up forward 1-3. This is a -13 on block mid, and then this can obviously be mixed with up forward 1-4. So what you can do here is you can actually react to the animation. If Eddy starts to hug the ground, then this is a mid. And if he doesn't, then it is a high. So you can just duck that on reaction. You put them both on, this is what it looks like. Yeah, so not too bad. Once you're really looking for the difference in the animations, it is very easy to reliably always get your best punish. Next, we have up forward 3-3 and up forward 3-4. Up forward 3-3, you see it's this jumping mid, and then there's a pause, and there's this launcher here. This is basically the same as down forward 3, it's just a full launch. You can see here it's actually a -18 on block. So, cool. The low here, which is up forward 3-4, there is no pause. So, this is completely reactable. There is no mix-up here. If you ever see this first hit, you just look at the animation, If there is a pause, it's a mid. If there's no pause, it's a low. This is what it's going to look like. Right, so something that actually helps me with this is you commit to the duck and then you react to the pause and stand back up. This is something that I would really make sure that you're labbing and you're 100% consistent with, because the mid is a launcher. So if you're wrong, you get put in the air. So you really want to lock down this specific timing. While standing 2, this is launch. This is -18. Shaheen has a similar move. We may have talked about it already. I actually forgot, but in case we haven't, just so you know, Shaheen's while standing 2 is also -18 on block. Every character in the game can launch that. While standing 4-4, you just duck after the first hit and launch. Your launcher will always come out before Eddy's follow-up comes out, because that is technically the beginning of a string. Down back 4-4, you can just duck after the first hit and launch this. You shouldn't really see this in the neutral, but in case you do, now you know. Finally, 4-4-3, you want to duck this on reaction and take your 14-frame punch. This is really hard to do, but this is basically the linchpin of Eddy's offense. If you can duck this on a reaction, even 50-60% of the time, it doesn't have to be crazy consistent. If you can duck this 50% of the time, Eddy has a very difficult time opening you up. Up next is Fahkumram. This is going to be a really high level option that we're going to be applying here, and unfortunately, because it is Fahkumram, it's not going to cover everything. But if you can reliably do some of the defensive stuff I'm going to show you, this matchup gets way easier. So just so you know, this is going to be extremely high level stuff. I don't even see pros do this. So it is what it is. And that's just for all of the Fahkumram stuff. There is basically nothing here that's simple to do. So it's unfortunate, but the last drill will be pretty good. And again, if you want to know more about Fahkumram, you can always check out the full guide in the description. So first thing first, we have 4-4-3. You want to duck this on reaction. If possible, you want to record this with the forward being as fast as possible, so you don't see him do the dash. But I mean, you always will see it. But yeah, you just want to duck this on reaction. So super easy. Yeah, that is pretty much it for that one. Next, we have down forward 3-3. This you want to sidestep left on a reaction. This is very hard to do, but you can do it. So yeah, this is super hard. But again, if you can do this, this move just doesn't work against you. You can also sidestep this right, but I generally don't recommend stepping Fahkumram to the right. So that's what you want to do against that move. Next, we're going to go over an option select if you think Fahkumram is going to do a guard break mix. So we have Fahkumram using his install 3-4-3 plank. So it looks like this. That is the hell sweep, and the other option is just the mid guard break. So what you want to do for this situation is, once you see him charging, you want to sidewalk left to duck on reaction. This will completely evade the mid, which you can launch, and you will be able to duck the hell sweep, which you end up blocking standing, or you recover standing, and Fahkumram is -12. This is what it's going to look like if you're doing it properly. Yeah, so obviously if he ends up half charging it, you will get hit. But if you think that he will do a guard break, that is your option select to get away from everything. Now, this also won't cover the homing mid, but I have been playing for a couple thousand hours. Well, not a couple thousand, like 1,200. I have seen that homing mid used twice. So generally, I wouldn't look out for the homing mid unless you're playing against a very high level Fahkumram player. Next, we have the down forward 1-4 series. Again, just like with the last option, you are picking a few options to lose to. With down forward 1-4, we have this high. We have down forward 1-4-4, which is another high. We have down forward 1-4-3 hold max, which is the guard break. And we also have the hell sweep. So What you want to do here is you want to hard commit to a duck after the down forward 1. This will lose to down forward 1-2, but it is what it is. That's a risk that we have to take with Fahkumram. You want to hard commit to a duck and just react to what's happening on the screen. If he does down forward 1-4, you rip your launcher. If he does down forward 1-4-4, you rip your launcher. If he does down forward, if he does either of the charges, you just want to rip your launcher as soon as you recognize that a charge is happening. This is what it's going to look like with all 4 options turned on. Right, so super easy, but in the heat of the moment, this can be very hard to do. But you can see there, we launched every single option. There is no mix-up here. The only mix-up is, will he do down forward 1-2, or will he do anything else? Next up, let's talk about Feng. His sidestep 4 is an incredibly obnoxious low, so what you want to do is you want to be ducking this on reaction. However, you want to make sure you're actually reacting to him sidestepping, or reacting to the low rather, and not reacting to him sidestepping. So we also have sidestep 1+2 in here. So you just want to turn both of these on, stand block the mid, and duck the low in a reaction. This is what it's going to look like. Yeah, so pretty simple. You have to obviously be well looking for it, but not too bad, all things considered. Forward to 3-4, you just want to make sure you take your 16 frame per punish here. You're not going to see this move that often, since this is more of a whiff punisher than anything, but if Feng does use it, you do want to make sure that you launch it. On a similar note, you see up back 1 a lot, especially after a heat engager or a heat dash. If you see this move, make sure that you launch it. Most people do not launch it. Back 1, I never see this punish. This is really fast, but it does have a decent amount of ending recovery, so you can actually just like still rip your 12 frame punish. If you're ever not sure, it's totally okay to do your 10 frame because there is 0 pushback. This also has no range, so even a character like Anna, who's had notoriously poor range, even she can punish this. Forward 1+2, you see this a lot after a heat engager. You just want to jab this on a reaction. So if you have a G-Clef, that is a really good thing to use here. If you look, I can try to sidestep it. Feng actually turns with me here. So if you're late on your sidestep, then this happens. That's why I recommend you jabbing it. You can try sidestepping it anyways if you're playing a privileged step, but I would just use a jab, especially if you have a G-Clef. You can also launch it, but because you're -9, usually when you see this move, launching is much scarier. 3-3-4 back into 3+4. Essentially what we're doing is we're doing this string into the manual shifting clouds. So what you want to do is you want to duck after the second hit so that you are covering the low. Then after you do that, you want to hop kick, or just do a jumping move that you have. Because you're jumping, you will be able to beat the shifting clouds parry, and the duck will still let you cover the low if it comes out. You can't just mash hop kick because you're not airborne in time, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's the best way I've found to deal with that string. Finally, down 4-4-3, just duck after the first hit and launch. This does have a mix-up, but the mix-up is mainly used in combos. A lot of people use this high because it's, you know, it's just a high at wall spots. So if they think you're going to press, they can basically use this like a counter hit button because it is a natural string, but, you know, obviously you can duck the high normally. That string is just good for wall spotting, does a lot of damage. But yeah, you wanted to duck it on reaction. And yeah, that's Feng. Not a whole lot of moves here in all honesty. Alright, let's talk about Heihachi. Heihachi has a lot of like reactable moves and then a lot of dumb situations that aren't real mix-ups, but Heihachi players will try to do anyways. So this will just show you how to get through these scenarios. So the first one we're going to talk about is CD3 and CD down forward 3. This is technically reactable, or not reactable, but this is fuzzy guardable, where the low comes out like 5 frames slower than the mid. So if you really want to be a hero, you can turn them both on and fuzzy guard this. This is what it's going to look like. Do note, this is extremely hard, and I don't recommend trying to do this, but the option is there if you would like to be. right? So not too bad, but still that's really hard in the heat of a game. You can 100% fuzzy guard that. The much easier thing that you can do is as soon as you see him airborne, you can jab float it. So I'm like reacting to him being at the top of his jump, and that's when I'm jabbing. You can see here, I never have to hold any mix up here or anything. I always just get a float, and then you get your float combo. That's much easier to do, and you take zero risk doing it. So that's what I would recommend. It's up to you. Next, we have a very common flowchart that you see, let's say, not defensively oriented Heihachis do, where whenever it's not their turn, they'll do this. They'll do down 4 into either full crouch down forward 3, or that might be full crouch to down forward 4. I actually forgot what the input is. It'll be in the title card. Or they'll do down 4 into while standing 2. So, depending on the character you're playing, the counterplay is going to be different. Zafina is very fortunate that she can actually backdash this 50-50, if you want to call it that, which is very nice. She's the only character maybe Alisa can't do. I didn't test it. Alisa has easier counterplay. But Zafina can Korean backdash this 50-50. If you're playing Alisa or Lili, you can sidestep left, and that will beat, or sidewalk left, and that will beat both of the options. And then for every other character, you just want to find a mid that tracks right and is kind of fast. If you have a 15 frame mid that tracks right, that would be your best bet, because that will not only tag the while standing 2, but it'll also tag a while standing 4. So for instance, a character like Armor King, he can down forward 2, and if Heihachi presses anything, he gets counter hit launched. So those are your options. Just to show you that Zafina can actually backdash this, I'm going to reset and then turn both options on. So that's the mid. And that's the low, right? She can backdash and launch on both options, which does require very good movement. I play in leverless, so it's really easy for me to get a fast Korean backdash. I do it with one hand, but you know, there are a lot of levelless players, they Korean backdash with 2 hands. That is an option if you're playing exactly Zafina. Alternatively, you can do a very specific timing for your Korean backdash, where when you press the down back, you'll incidentally block the low. That's really hard to do, and I don't recommend it. If you're playing Zafina, you can Korean backdash this. If you're playing Alisa or Lili, you can sidewalk left. If you're playing Armor King, you can down forward 2. For every other character, you just want to find a fast-ish move to cover all 3 options, or you can just find like a 20 frame move that covers the 2 that I showed. The third option would be like a while standing 4. So for instance, Dragunov, he can hatchet kick the full crouch down forward 4, and he can hatchet kick the while standing 2, right? So that is an option. Next, we have down back 2. You just want to duck this on reaction. This move is incredibly annoying, but Heihachi players really like you using this. You'd be surprised how many Heihachis in God 5 and God 6 I see that will like use this in a round end scenario. You really want to make sure that you're able to react to that and duck and launch it. Next, we have back 3-2. You just want to duck after the first hit and a launch. A lot of Heihachi players, again, they will use this as a homing button because it is technically a mix-up. Force them to use the mid, that is -11 on block. It can be -12, but that is hard to punish sometimes. But always duck this, force them to use the mid. Now we're just going to talk about 2 common stance situations. First is forward 3+4 into 1. That's this move here. This is -11. Just take your 11 frame punish if you have one, otherwise take your jab punish. Yeah, most people don't punish that, and make sure you do. Next, we have forward 3 forward into 2. You want to sidestep right duck, and that will cover basically every option. There is one option that will track it, which is the homing armored mid. Don't know why he has a homing armored mid, but you know, we're not here to talk about that. But you will cover basically every other option. Alright, let's talk about Hwoarang. This character has a lot more situations than just raw moves that we want to be punishing. So quite a few of these options are going to be that, but obviously there are still a few moves that are worth talking about. So first, we have back 1. We just want to take our 15 frame from punish here. Now that this is -15, the majority of the cast will be able to get a launch on this. So just be aware of this move, and if you do ever block it, make sure you launch it. CD4 with no just frame. Most people don't know that this is -8. with no just frame. So if someone ever misses this, make sure that you get your biggest punish. You really want to make sure that you're getting a big launch here. I'm not good at doing Jin's electrics, so I'm not going to electric punish it, but make sure you get a big launch. Down 4, 3 plus 4. This is a single button press that does all 3 of these hits. It is minus 14. Make sure you take your 14 frame punish. Again, most people don't get the best punch that they can on this move. All right, so the first situation is down forward 1, 3 into 3, 3. After you block down forward 1, 3, you want to side step left duck. This is generally just a really good option for this stance. He only had like one move that can track a side step right duck on this +2. The reason that we have this 3-3 here is that this is one of the only options where you need to like stand back up, because this first hit is actually homing. If you commit to the duck, obviously. You commit to a sidewalk, you don't have to worry about it. But if I do a step duck, you see it hits me. So you want to step duck and then stand back up when you see this move. So yeah, that's just what you want to do there. The step duck will cover basically all of the options, and then you stand back up for 3-3 specifically. Next, we're going to have Hwoarang jab into down back 4 forward into forward 4-4. So he's going to jab, do down back 4, and then he's going to do flappy kicks. So what you want to do is lab your character's punish for this. So Jin, you have to just wait for the flappies to come out. Most Hwoarang players, if they see that you did deduct this, they will rip the flappies. So do be aware of that. You want to just lab whatever your punish is. If you're playing Lili, her while standing 2 actually goes under the flappy kicks, which is really, really nice. So, you know, there's no option selected there for us if we think Hwoarang is going to use the flappy kicks. But not every character has an optional like that. I think Yoshi can hop kick under it, but don't quote me on that. I don't play Yoshi. I would just assume that he can because of how good his hop kick is. Keep that in mind. You want to lab your character's punish. If you have to wait for the flappies to come out, then that's what you have to do. If you don't have to wait for the flappies, then rip whatever punish you have. Next, we have sidestep 4 and we have sidestep 3. So sidestep 3 is actually a very similar situation to down forward 1-3, where you just want to sidestep left duck after the second hit. But we want to practice react ducking to sidestep 4. This move is really, really good. And by having another sidestep move here, we're not just reacting to the sidestep. We're actually reacting to both moves. So if you turn them both on, this is what it looks like. Right, so this is pretty hard. It took me a while to actually record me doing it 5 times in a row, but you can do it. It is doable, and it does make this matchup a lot easier if, like, that's not a mix-up, right? If you can even react to that, you know, 20, 30, 40% of the time, that's better than having to raw guess every time he sidesteps. Finally, we just have his 2 grab. This is 2+4 back. The main reason I have this on is that while it is a homing throw, this is a dedicated 2 break. This is not a 1 or 2, it's not a generic throw. So what you might want to do is combine this with the old drill and just have all 3 of Hwoarang's command throws on there. But yeah, this one being a dedicated 2 throw with the homing trail does make it a little bit harder to break because you can't just panic press 1 or 2. You have to press 2 specifically. All right, let's talk about Jack. Jack has a million strings and just a million moves worth talking about, so there's always more stuff to go over with Jack. As a legacy character, this would be expected. Up, forward 3. You want to duck this on reaction and take your 12 frame punish. This move, outside of heat, is reactable. It's on the edge of reactability, but it is reactable. This is one of his only jumping moves that he can use in the neutral, so make sure that you are reacting to it. When he's in heat, it's like 16 frames or something. That number might not be exact, but it's unreactable. When he's in heat, it's much faster. Outside of heat, though, make sure you're at least trying to react to it. If you're playing Anna, you can manual Chaos Judgment, and you can launch it. So, good stuff for Anna players. Full crouch down 1+2, you want to duck this on reaction and launch it. This does technically have a follow-up, but the follow-up comes out so slow that your launch will always beat it. You have like 30 frames to launch it. It's pretty insane how slow the second hit is. Very, very simple. Make sure that you're launching that. Back 1-2. This is a mid counter hit launcher where the second hit can be delayed. It is -14 on block and it forces crouch, so make sure that you are using the right launch here, or the right punishment. Most people either press into the second hit and get counter hit launched, which if they don't delay it, then you will get counter hit launched, right? But you just want to make sure that you are actually waiting and taking your punish. Down forward 2. Jack's down forward 2 is -14 on block and has no pushback, so make sure you're taking 18 frame punish. This does have really crazy range, so that is something worth keeping in mind. You'd be surprised at the range beacon down forward 2 to you. While standing 2-4, this is technically a mix-up, but a lot of Jack players like to use this move in the neutral because it's +4 on block and it wall splats. So, right, if I do this, that's pretty good. So you want to make sure that you are ducking this at least occasionally. You don't want Jack players to feel comfortable just ripping that against you. It's gonna be a nightmare. If for whatever reason he does use the mid, that's actually -14 on block, so worth keeping in mind. Finally, we have a fuzzy guardable set of strings. This is the full crouch down forward 2 series. We have full crouch down forward 2-1-2, which is this. That is mid. We have full crouch down forward 2 forward 1, which is this. That is a high. And we have full crouch down forward 2 down 1, which is a low. Notably, the lows and highs are faster than the mid. So what you want to do is turn all of them on. You want to quickly low parry, then stand back up to block the mids. If you do stand back up, the second mid is -4 and the last one is -12. This is what it looks like in real time. Right, so not too bad. Obviously I missed a launch there, but that's fine. I don't play Jin. My character's fast launchers normally on while standing 3. It is what it is. But yeah, really easy string to deal with once you know what to look for. Make sure you practice fuzzy guarding that. Alright, for Jin, the last drill guide I did was pretty exhaustive for Jin. There's still a few moves worth covering, of course, but instead what I'm going to show, instead of like, really robust counterplay, this is like a generic warm-up guide that you can use to, get ready for a rank. I have friends who use this and I use it myself occasionally just to make sure that you're locked in and ready to go. So there are going to be just more generic things here. Keep that in mind. First, let's talk about back 3+4 to go into Zen. I think the back Zen is called Zanshin, so goes into that, but what we want to do is have him do the up 1. This is -16 on block, and it recovers exceptionally quickly. You can see here, this can be, if you try to wait until he lands, you will actually be late on the punish. You need to rip your punish as soon as you confirm that you blocked it. This can be very hard to launch punish, so make sure you're launching it. Next, we have CD42. This is Jin's Hell Sweep. You want to duck this on reaction. This is very hard to do, but it is reactable, especially in the context of practice mode. And again, this is a lot like the King and Armor King Giant Swing versus Shining Wizard. If you can react to this, 20-30% of the time in a real game, that's that many mix-ups that you're not guessing and you're just getting a free launch. So it is worth practicing it because it is reactable. Next, we have 2-1-4. You just want to take your 10 frame for punish here. Most people don't punish this, so make sure you are doing your 10 frame here. Good stuff. Next, we have Zen into 1-2 down forward 2. And this is what it's going to look like. This is a super common Jin flow chart. And essentially what you want to do is you want to react to this not finishing and then a launch it. So here's what it's going to look like. You can see here, I see the second hit not come out, and then that's when I rip my launcher. If you're too slow, then you'll get hit out of your launch, but that's fine. Just make sure that you are reacting to him not finishing it and launching it. The electric is the fastest option out of that, so you'll always beat everything. Next, we have CD1. Just take your 13 frame punish here. Most people don't punish this, so make sure you take your punish. Finally, we have throws. We have all of Jin's command throws here. So we have a 2 break in down forward 2+4. We have a 1+2 break in up forward 1+2. And we have a 1 break in corner circle back 1+3. So you just want to turn all 3 of these on. And the biggest thing about these throws is that when you're only looking for throws, it's much easier to break throws on reaction. You really want to have other moves in here so that you're not just reacting to movement, immediately looking at hands and saying, oh, that's a throw. You want to make sure there's a lot of different moves on here, so you have to pay attention to the entire character rather than just their hands. Next up, let's talk about June. In the past, I said that you just want to duck 1-2-2, and that's true. Ducking it is really, really good. The issue is that she can sidestep cancel after 1-2, and then she can run a mix from there as well. Now, there's actually a relatively simple option select that we can do for this. So, if we do 1-2-2, we can tap down back after the second hit. You see here, Dragunov will duck every single time. Now, if we do 1-2 into sidestep and we tap down back in the second hit, you'll notice I'm putting in a down back, but Dragunov isn't ducking. The same thing is true after the 1+2 as well. So you can see here, he's either not ducking at all or like very, very briefly ducking. What does that mean? Well, if you think she's gonna press, then you actually have a very easy option select here. You tap a down back. If the homing high comes out, you launch it. And if it doesn't come out, you can just mash. Typically, you want to mash a jab, because if you do anything else, then you risk getting blown up. But this is what it looks like in real time. Right, so super, super simple. Obviously, if you have a G clef, that makes it really, really strong. But yeah, it's really, really good. There are certain characters, so this is something that I experienced when I was playing a June mirror. For whatever reason, when June sidesteps with her down button, feels like she has an easier time going under the 1-2-2. I don't know if that was a quirk or if that was just really lucky timing with my own sidesteps, but that seems to be an option that you can do. It does seem to be relatively precise though. So this is a very easy option to deal with 1-2-2 or just the 1-2 string in general. If you're really locked in, there's higher level counterplay, which I will show once. I won't go through the cycle where I have it play randomly because it's really hard. So you still do your flash dog here, which looks like this. If she does anything else, then you want to do a flash duck, or try to anyways, and then you want to do a sidestep left duck. And if you do it properly, this will happen. Again, very, very hard to do. And then this will also cover the sidestep 1+2, which is a homing high. You just need to delay your launch a little bit. And that's what will happen. So very, very strong. That is exceptionally difficult to do. So personally, I would just do my flash duck into mash, but that is an option if you choose. Down back 2, you just want to duck this on reaction. It's -12, which is pretty safe for this type of move. But yeah, you just want to duck this on reaction. This move is very evasive, so you don't want to get blown up by it if you have a choice in the matter. For 2+3, you also want to duck this on reaction. This is very, very slow, and it's mainly used to absorb punches. But you can see this is really, really slow. Yeah, so make sure you're ducking that on reaction. Down 4-4, duck after the first hit. Even on hit, you can still duck after the first hit. You will very rarely see this used in the neutral, but if a June player gets lazy and rips it, then you will be able to launch it for free. Down forward 4, this is -14. No one punishes this. Make sure that you punish this move. Literally no one punishes this. Finally, we have forward 2. Make sure you're launching this. This is another move where people get like stun locked by the fact that June players use it in the neutral. Do not get stun locked. Make sure that you are launching this. You really want to make sure that you're launching this so that June players are wary of actually just ripping in the neutral. Alright, Kazuya is going to be very, very easy. His move list is so small that we really don't have that much to talk about. So I'm only going to be showing 4 extra moves today compared to what we showed last time. So with Kazuya, you just want to kind of mix and match, and once you have a moves that you're regularly dealing with properly, you rotate those out and rotate in these new ones. So let's start with the first one, which is down 1+2. You just want to duck this on reaction. This is super reactable. I believe it's 23 or 24 frames. If you're really locked in, you can see this on reaction. Make sure that you are ducking that. Next, we have down forward 3-1. You just want to duck this second hit. This move is mostly used at the wall because it actually wall splats. So you will see this. This is not really used as a mix-up, but it's used in the same vein as sidestep 4-1. Basically, the big difference between these two strings is that the knee wall splat is mid-high and the sidekick wall splat is mid-mid. So it may be worth turning both of these on so you can tell the difference, but I'll just have them both on and show you what it looks like so you're always ducking the right string. Yeah, so not too bad. Again, just want to make sure that you are ducking the right string and blocking the other one. So at the very least, I would turn both of these on. Whenever you have a down forward 3-1 on, make sure that sidestep 4-1 is also on. Back 1-4, make sure you take your 14 frame punish. Kazuya players will sometimes use this to wall splat because it's an 11 frame wall splat, which is really, really good. So if they're trying to do like a frame trap, like they do like, you know, your back is against the wall, they might sometimes do a forward 4 and a back 1-4. It happens occasionally. Make sure you take your punish. Finally, we have a Heat Sidestep 2. Despite being the same exact moves as Devil Jin's, Kazuya's is only a -15. I believe Devil Jin's is a -25. So you do want to make sure that you are launching this, but you're not overcommitting your launcher. So against Devil Jin, I might Matterhorn that. Against Kazuya, I have to hop kick this. So be very, very careful of that. Make sure you're not overextending into this move and using the wrong punish and end up getting blown up. But yeah, that's Kazuya. He just doesn't have that many strings and that many like ultra punishable moves. All right, let's talk about King. So this drill is actually going to be separated into 2 different sections. First, we're going to have Shining Wizard and Giant Swing as the 2 throws that we have on. Again, you want to have these on separate, at least at first. The main reason is that we want to practice reacting to Shining Wizard versus Giant Swing. I think in the inputs it's actually called Tomahawk, so that's the throw you're looking for. The tell that I try to use is 1, Giant Swing is a little bit faster than Tomahawk, but 2, when King does Tomahawk, he like twists his body as he's running up yours, obviously. And that's kind of the tell that I use. Also a Giant Swing, he like folds you literally. So I'll just turn these both on, use whatever tell that you can to tell the difference between the 2, and practice reacting to 2 hands and blue sparks coming out and breaking the correct throw. This is what it's going to look like with both of them on. I will remind you, this is exceptionally hard to do, but it is worth practicing. Yeah, so not too bad. I look at King's legs whenever I get grabbed by, you know, blue spark throws with two hands. Use whatever tell that you can. I know that some high level players, they look at the grab speed. So if you do this, you can tell the difference if you look exclusively at the grab speed. I can't do that. I look at his legs. That makes it much easier for me to break. Next, we have back 1+2. This has a like really wide throw animation. You see this is a 1+2 break, but this is just completely unique because of how wide his arms go. This animation, because it's unique, you want to lab breaking this on reaction. This animation specifically is always that throw. Next, we have reverse arm slam in the move list. You want to duck this on a reaction. This really slow wave dash into a throw, you just want to duck this on reaction. You should never be getting hit by that. Next, forward 2, down 1, 2. In my opinion, you should never try to duck King's forward 2-string unless he's in heat. A lot of King players will try to heat dash out of it. Instead, just always stand block, and then, you know, it is what it is. For the forward 2, down 1, 2-string, you want to just wait until it's done. If it finishes, perfect. King is minus 15, and that's great. Now, if he rips it at full speed, you can actually mash or punish because it jails. But if King delays it, it no longer jails. So I would be very, very careful about trying to punish the string. I would just wait until it's done, and then take your 15-frame punish there. Trying to be hero and duck only to get launched because the down 1-2, that's actually a natural. It's not worth it. I always stand block this against King unless he's in heat because the heat dash is so powerful. Down forward 1-2, this is minus 10. Make sure you take your 10-frame punish. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This goes under punished in my opinion. A lot of people don't punish that string. They just treat it like it's safe. Down back 3, you want to duck this on reaction. This move is very, very fast, but, you know, it has a pretty unique animation. King gets pretty low to the ground, making this pretty evasive. You can 100% react to that, and it's worth trying to at the very least. Finally, we have down 1-2. You see this a lot as a turn-stealing move. Kings use this literally all the time. Make sure that you are punishing this appropriately. Up next is the bears. We have a few more reactable moves, but also some stuff that just needs to be punished that a lot of people have a hard time punishing. First, we have back 1 down. Notably, this is my -13 on block, but you can see it actually recovers in crouch. If I try to jab here, I'll get punished. You want to make sure that you are doing your mid punish here and that you are not getting blown up. A lot of people do because they use the wrong punish here. Forward 3+4, you want to duck this on reaction. Super reactable, can't be canceled or anything. Make sure you are ducking this on reaction. Forward 1+2, you want to sidewalk left this on reaction. Technically, you can sidestep it. The only issue is if you're a little bit late, you risk getting clipped. You can also go right if you wish, but you are much more likely to get tagged if you go right. Just as soon as you can, as soon as you realize what's happening, you want to sidewalk left. You can like sidestep back the other way in order to get a cleaner launch, but in my opinion, I recommend just doing a sidewalk left and taking your back to the launch. Next, we have a fuzzy guardable string. We have 2-1-3 and 2-1-2. After 2-1, you want to just do a quick low parry, and then you want to stand back up and block this mid. The mid is -14. When you turn them both on, this is what it looks like. Yeah, this is probably the easiest low parry in the entire game. 1-2, you just want to duck this on reaction. This has a pretty unique animation compared to 1-1. So in my opinion, like as soon as you see that like wind back, you can even kind of react to the like claws passing across the screen. And it feels like it doesn't actually connect until it's already across your body. This is pretty easy to duck. If you're ever worried about whether or not you can duck this versus accidentally ducking a 1-1-1, I would turn them both on and then see if you can tell the difference. In my opinion, this is very easy to see which one's which. This move is kind of troll, but bear players with lower defense ratings tend to use this move quite a bit. This is the back 1+4 forward. As soon as you see this, you just want to sidewalk on reaction, and then you just want to wait until they stop rolling and let them get up. If you try to punish this too early, then this will happen, where it can hit you. It actually didn't hit me there, but yeah, so that can happen if you try to punish it too early, and you don't want that to happen. So you just want to sidewalk, wait for them to stop, make them get up, and then go back to playing the game as normal. Finally, we have up back 1+2. This is also launched by, I believe, the entire cast, -17 on block. This can also be canceled into crouch, and if you see them canceled, it will be in hunting bear stance. All you want to do is if you see that, you want to just like rip a wall standing 4 or something, just a safe mid that you can use instead. That's going to be your best bet. All right, let's talk about Kunimitsu. We're actually going to have two different sets of drills here just because she wasn't in the first video, and there's quite a few things that I see people messing up with this character. I played her myself to God 3, and there are a lot of people who just have no defense against this character, which, as the newest character, is what you would expect. So, first things first, forward, forward, forward 2. This is minus 17. You have to launch this. No one launches this. You have to launch this. It's minus 17. If you don't launch this, that move is the single best 10-frame punish in the entire game because there's no risk to it. Even if you're only getting, you know, a 10, 12-frame punish, that's so good. Like, this move is insane if you're not launching it. Same thing with CD2. No one launches this move. Very few people even punish this move because I think they assume that the second hit will come out even on block. The second hit does not come out on block. You have to launch this. Otherwise, again, this is the best 14-frame punish in the entire game. It's still probably the best 14-frame punish, but it's like super the best one if you're not launching it. Next, down back 2-4-2. So you can sidewalk after the second hit in either direction. It mainly depends on what type of punish you want to get. If you sidewalk right, you will be facing Kunimitsu, or she'll be facing you rather. So you will get a front face punish. If you sidewalk left, you will get a back turn punish. So Jin will be able to do something like this. So yeah, if you have a really strong back turn punish, it may be worth going left. But if you don't, then go right. That will be your best bet. 2-2-2, 2-2. I think it's 5 of them. You want to duck after the second hit and launch. If you have a 14 or 15, or I guess 13 as well. If you have a fast launcher, or like a standard launcher, I suppose, then you can do that. If you have a 16-frame move, then you will actually trade with the 4th hit. So for the characters that don't have a standard 15-frame launcher, you want to stay ducking until you either confirm that Kunimitsu is stopping after the 3rd hit, or until the 4th hit goes over your head. If you have 15 frames or faster launcher, then you just rip it after the 1st hit and you're good to go. Up forward 3+4, 4, and up forward 3+4, 2. This isn't a mix-up string. You cannot punish this mid here. It has so much pushback that the only character... Actually, there is not a single character in the game that can punish this. This is completely safe unless Kuni's back is against the wall. Then it's minus 14. The low, if you notice, has this purple smoke effect. Once you see this purple smoke, you just duck and launch this. So if you want to turn them both on so you can practice reacting to the purple smoke, then this is what it's going to look like. Yeah, so super easy. Once you're used to the animation again, you basically will never get hit by this. You'll always be able to launch the low. Up back 2. Sidewalk right after you hear the voice cue. You can technically go in either direction, but right is typically the way you want to step Kunimitsu. So in my opinion, you should sidewalk right. Finally, for the first set of drills, we have 3-4. You just want to duck after the first hit. There are plenty of Kunimitsu players that just finish this because the second hit is a counter launcher. So if I like jab you, yeah. So that's why they'll just finish it even on block. Make sure that you're ducking and launching that. All right, now let's talk about some situations that you need to be aware of with Kuni. Basically, we're going to go over 4 different things that you need to look out for that are pretty important, especially because she just has some tricky stuff going on. So first thing first is forward 4 into set 2, which is this, and forward 4 into set 1+2, which is this. So what you want to do here is after you block the forward 4, you want to do a sidewalk right block. And this is what it's going to look like with both of them. So you'll block this one, and as soon as she does set 2, you'll step the set 2. Now, the reason why you want to do this is that this will cover basically every option after forward 4, besides getting tagged by set 1 and set 3. So this is just a really good defensive option that you can do against this stance. If you're playing Lili or Alisa, the sidewalk right block will actually cover everything. They can step set 1+2, which is really nice. Next, we're going to talk about 1-1 stuff. So after you block 1-1, next we're going to talk about the 1-1 string. So we have 2 options here. We have 1-1-2 and 1-1, 1+2, which goes into cat 1-2, as that is the fastest option out of cat. This is what it's going to look like, and this is what the other option is. So after the first 2 hits, you want to sidewalk right. That will beat everything except for 1-1-1. So you see here, we step this, and we step this. If you're playing Lili or Alisa, even on hit, you can sidewalk right, and you'll evade even the 1-1-1. So those 2 characters never have to hold a mix-up here. For everyone else, you can still step on hit, but you do risk getting tagged by some stuff. So you can't step the 1-1-2, you can't step the 1-1 into cat 1-2, but you can still step everything else, which is kind of crazy. Finally, we're going to go over some throws. Kuni doesn't have a full throw game, but what she does have is an ambiguous throw animation. So this, despite her reaching with both of her hands, this is actually a 1 throw. And then that is forward 1+4, and then she has a normal 1+2 throw with this. These animations are different, but they're similar enough that they're hard to break. So you want to turn them both on and make sure that you can break them. Obviously, you want to have all of these on, but with just these 2, this is what's going to look like. Basically, the big difference between the 2 is that she puts your leg on your body basically instantly for the 1 break, and it just looks pretty normal for the 1+2 break. Finally, we're going to go over her back turn throws. The animation for these 2 throws is exactly the same, except one of them has a homing trail and one of them doesn't. So this one that does not have a homing trail, this is a 1+2 break. You can see here, this is like pretty hard. And then the other one that has a homing trail, this is a generic throw. So you just want to turn these both on, and then you're reacting to whether or not there's a homing trail. This is harder, but this is what it looks like. Yeah, so this is much harder, but you do really want to make sure that your throw breaks are on point with this character. Again, despite not having a 2 throw, her throws are surprisingly difficult to break just because of the ambiguous nature of them. Lars has a few situations that we want to talk about, as well as 2 moves that I think I didn't cover in the last time. But I think the situational awareness is much more important against this character, so setting up all of these moves are going to be pretty annoying, but it is important. First, we're going to talk about the situation after wall running 1. Wall running 1 is +4 into silent entry. So, cool. Nothing super crazy here. After you block a wall running 1, Lars is +4, which means that you can actually rage art every single option of silent entry. So, if you're in rage, keep that in mind. Besides that, what you want to do is do wall running 1 into silent entry 4. That is this homing high that I just showed. Then you want to do wall running 1 into silent entry 1, which is this mid. This is the fastest option. Then you want to do any other option besides silent entry 3+4. That's because 3+4 hard tracks side step left, which is the direction we're going to go in. Unfortunately, you're kind of choosing which move you get beat by here, which is very annoying, but you know, it is what it is. Those are the 3 buttons you want to record. If you do, you essentially want to, after you block wall running 1, you want to sidewalk left, duck. This will beat everything from the stance besides the silent entry 3+4. If you want to call it the 3+4 instead, you want to do a sidewalk left block, and that will cover everything besides silent entry 2. So again, you are kind of picking and choosing what you're losing to, but in my opinion, you get a much bigger reward from sidestep left duck, as long as there isn't a floor break, because dynamic entry or silent entry 3+4 will floor break. This is what it looks like with all 3 of them on. Also, just so you guys can see, the option here I picked was silent entry 3. In my opinion, this is the hardest move to step. So you know you got the timing down right if you can reliably step it. This is what it looks like with all 3 options on. Yeah, so not bad at all. You see there with the silent entry 3 that if you rip your punish like I did, then you'll actually catch him floating. be careful about that. If you want to actually get like a huge punish every single time, you do want to confirm that Silent Entry 3 whiffed and then launch it. All of these moves have really long recovery, so you are good to wait, see which move came out, and apply the appropriate punish. So just keep that in mind when dealing with this sequence here. Next, let's talk about the situation after down forward 1-1. Technically, you can duck the second hit here. The issue is this is a string mix-up. Lars can do down forward 1-3, and then you'll get wall splat and take a trillion damage because he has probably the highest damage non-spike combo in the game. Actually, it's not even probably. It is the highest damage non-spike combo in the game, which is annoying. So, well, what do we do? Well, after down forward 1-1, we look at Lars's feet. If there are no blue sparks here, then the mid is coming out, which is -12. Cool. If there are blue sparks, he will be going into dynamic entry, and we want to have him do dynamic entry 3 because that is a homing mid, so it helps us time our sidestep block. Then we want him to do any other move from dynamic entry. So I have him doing dynamic entry 2, I believe. So why are we doing all this? Well, you want to turn all of these on, and then if he goes into dynamic entry, you want to do a sidestep right block, and that will cover all of the options from dynamic entry. If he finishes the string, you want to take your 12 frame punish. This is what it looks like with everything on. Yeah, so not too bad. It's once you get used to it, it's pretty easy, but this can be definitely pretty challenging if you're not used to it. So 100% recommend getting this timing down. Down by 4, you just want to duck this on reaction. This is 20 frames, but this has a super unique animation, so you do want to make sure that you are able to duck this on reaction at least some of the time. Again, every time you do duck it, you're getting 90 damage, so there's a lot in store for you if you can duck it even once around on reaction. Finally, we have down forward 3-3. This is -15. Make sure that you launch it. It does have a little bit of pushback, so depending on your character, you might not be able to launch it. As far as I know, every single character that has a 15 frame launcher can punish this, but do make sure that that is true for your character, and if not, figure out what your best punish is. All right, let's talk about law. First, let's talk about forward 2+3. This is the one throw. You have a much longer time to break this than you would think. You can see he's getting like halfway up my body before I can't break it anymore. You have a pretty long time to break this, so make sure you have your breaks for this move. This move is very annoying if you can't break it because it does have a unique animation. Next, we want to do any 1+2 throw. It doesn't matter, just it's something to have on here. And it helps you make sure that you're not just looking for a throw animation period. You're actually looking for the unique animation. So I have 4-4-3+4. If you are wrong, then you get launched. Make sure that you break this one. It could be any 1+2 throw, it doesn't matter. Down forward 4-3, you want to sidestep right after the first hit. This is hard to do, especially in the course of a real game, but you just want to make sure that you are at least trying. So that is a good move to have here. 3-4, you want to duck after the first hit. A lot of wall players, if they're wrong about a punish, they will rip this. So you want to make sure that you are actually ducking and launching this and make them be more careful about using it. Up 4-3+4, I have a really hard time ducking this, so this is a move that I need to lab. But yeah, this move is super annoying. Even high level wall players use this unironically, so make sure that you are using this or that you are ducking it, because no one should be using this, but there are players who do. So if they're going to use it, you need to be getting your launch. Next, we have wall standing 2. Because of the pushback of this move, this can actually be pretty hard to launch. So you see here, if I block it from like tip range, I can't actually launch it with my can anymore. And even here, you know, if I block it from round start, you see my hop kick just completely whiffs. So you do want to find a consistent punish for you. You can electric this, as you can see. So if you are playing a Mishima, electrics are very, very good here. Just make sure whatever punish you're doing for this actually works. Down 3-3, you want to duck after getting hit by the first low and launch this. Notably, this can be delayed, so it may be worth recording it with the delay and without it in order to make sure that you're still ducking and launching and not mashing in this, because it is a counter hit launcher at the wall, and I think from very specific distances it can also counter hit launch. Finally, we have a back 2-3-4. You want to low parry after the first hit. Now, you will still get hit by back 2-1, but if they're showing you that in the neutral, then they're probably not the best player. But basically with this one, you just want to low parry here. If the high goes over your head, then you want to launch it. So yeah, that is law. Alright, let's talk about Lee. Most of these are just mid-highs if you have to duck, but there are a few interesting things in here that are worth deeper exploration. First, we have Acid Rain. This is a 1-1-3. Most people don't know this is a -17 on block. Occasionally, a Lee player will just rip this because they don't expect you to, you'll try to punish the second hit and get blown up for it, like so. But yeah, you can just duck this and launch it, or you can stand block and launch it. It's really going to depend on the range of your 17 frame launchers and how much damage you get. 4-2-1, duck after the first hit and launch. This can be delayed, so make sure that you are ready for that. You can also record it with and without a delay so that you're used to both animations. The same is true for 3-3, duck after the first hit and launch. Again, some Lee players will use this because it's hit confirmable, but occasionally they'll just rip it anyways, so make sure you are ducking and launching this every single time. This can also be delayed, so keep that in mind. In a similar vein, 4-4-4 with the perfect input, duck after the second hit and launch. Once you see that delay, that's your cue to duck. And yep, it's pretty straightforward. Most of Lee's stuff is duck and launch. Honestly, the last guide on its own was pretty exhaustive with the string defense, so most of this stuff is just duck and launch. Next, we have While Standing 1-2. Again, we want to duck after the first hit and launch. Do note that this can be delayed quite a long time, and if you get counter hit here, then you will get blown up. So if I do something like this, yeah, he can get it immediately. So make sure that you are ducking this. 3-3-4 with the perfect input. This is, I forget what the input for it is, but you'll find it. This, you just want to duck this on reaction. If you don't, then this will happen. You mostly see this in heat because most people aren't good enough to get this regularly. So if you see this in heat, you just want to make sure that you are ducking this on reaction. Again, nothing too crazy here. Just want to make sure you get your punish. Finally, we have 2-1-1 and 2-1-3 or 2-1-4. Doesn't particularly matter. This is a fuzzy guardable string. 2-1-1 will end in a mid, and this mid is not delayable at all and is -12. 2-1-4, which is this low, this can be delayed and it's launch. So the high is also launch. Naturally, the high is also slower than the mid, so you just want to practice the fuzzy timing here to make sure that you're stand blocking for a few frames and then ducking. This is what it looks like at full speed. Yeah, so not too bad. The fuzzy window is pretty tight, but again, once you're used to this, it's super straightforward. You'll never mess it up. All right, now we are here with Leo. The first sequence we're going to go over is, or the first move rather, is down 4 2+3. This is a very evasive low, very strong low. It's +5 counter hit launcher. We want to mix this with down 2. If you're not super familiar with the Leo matchup, these moves have basically the same cadence and very similar animations. What you want to do is you turn them both on, if the low comes out, you want to low parry or duck depending on your character. And if the mid comes out, you just block. You want to react to this. This is what it's going to look like in real time. Right, so not too bad at all. Once you're used to this animation, this is very easy to duck on reaction. I'm pretty good at ducking this. Next, we have a very common situation that a lot of people get blown up by. Back 1, 1+2 is this move here, and then it can go into Bach at -10. The issue is the transition into Bach is actually super evasive. Not only that, the moves that come out of Bach are also super evasive. Yeah, it's very annoying. There's even another thing. If Leo doesn't go into Bach, then it's only -12, meaning that, you have to change your punish based on whether or not Leo finishes it. As a consequence, you want to find your punish, or if Leo goes into Bach and picks these 3 options. First, we have Leo doing Bach 3, and you do that by doing back 1, 1+2 down into 3. Then we have Bach 2 here, which is this super evasive launcher, and we have Bach 1+2, which is this armor that also carries a ton of evasion. Even though Dragunov is a 12 frame mid, meaning he has, a reliable punish for Bach 1, 1+2 with no transition, if you look here, we do beat the high, which is the 3, the jumping move. However, the Bach 2 goes under the 12 frame mid, and Bach 1+2 also goes under the 12 frame mid. So Dragunov actually has to pick a different option. So I can do like a back 4-3, that seems to work. Yeah, that seems great. We might even be able to do like a down 4-2 or something. The only issue with down 4-2 is that if you're even a little bit late, we can't even do down 4-2 this. So I'm testing this in real time. The other issue with down 4-2 is if you're a little bit late on the armor, then this happens, right? So very, very important that you lab what your character's punish is. Lili, Reina, and Heihachi, they can mash 1+2 and Leo can't do anything about it, and it will punish Leo whether or not Leo finishes or goes into Bach. If you're playing Kuni, you can forward, 4-2, and you will also beat everything. Next, we have down back 3. You just want to duck this on reaction. Super slow, but very evasive move. Definitely worth looking into. Make sure you can duck that on reaction. Down forward 1-2. There are no other extensions here, so after down forward 1, it's worth learning how to duck this move. I believe it can also be delayed a little bit. Just make sure you're ducking it. Finally, down forward 2. No one punishes this. This is -13. Take your 13 frame punish. Like, I see this punished very, very rarely. It does have an awkward block stun, so that may be a reason for it. But yeah, this is -13. Make sure you take your punish. Alright, Leroy doesn't have basically any other moves to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about, 2 moves I didn't talk about last time that just have punishes, and a couple of situations that are worth keeping in mind. So first we have back 1+2. You see this move quite a bit. 1, it has 0 range, but 2, more importantly, this is -10. Every time you use this, make sure you take your punish here. Don't let Leroy fish with this for free. This is an extremely important counter launcher, being a 12 frame mid launcher. Next, we have a sequence here. It's 1 into down back 3 into back 2. So basically, we want to get used to blocking this and then punishing it, keeping the parry in mind. Depending on your character, you may have a different option for how you want to punish this. So you can use a low, you can crouch cancel into a reversal break. So Lidia in Heat has one. Heihachi's down forward 1-2 with the perfect charge is a reversal break. And Fahkumram's back forward 4 is a reversal break. So you can crouch cancel into those moves to hard call out the parry. Lidia, if she's in Heat, she can 4-4-2. So I will activate Heat, and then I'll show you what we can do here. Right, so that is completely guaranteed. Yeah, so that is 100% option that we can do. Alternatively, what most characters are going to do is they will just throw here. That's going to be your best bet. You can also wait. Or you can use a low. So if I do something like this, right, that's just a knockdown low. That's something you can do. If you have a low from crouch, that is a good option. Throwing is a good option. If you have a reversal break, that's the best option. And yeah, or you can just wait. The only issue is if you wait and they don't do the parry, then you just completely give up your turn. Forward 2-2. No one launches this. This is a -15. Yeah, make sure to launch this if you have it, or if you have a launcher for it, obviously. Not everyone has a launcher for it, but make sure you take your 15 frame punish. Finally, this is a super common sequence that I see it even in really high ranks. it'll do down forward 1, 1+2, and then they'll do back 1+2. Because you'll say, oh, look, he finished the string, so I'll jab here, and now you're dead. So, there's a few things you can do here. First, you can just block and take your 10-frame punch. Second, you can try to sidestep here, as this move has no tracking to either side. Third, you can actually Korean backdash this. So this is hard, but if you Korean backdash this, then you can actually launch this either way. Right? So that is an option that you can do as well. I believe if you're playing Alisa or Zafina, then you can just do a single backdash and get away from it. But because this move has no tracking and no range, Korean backdash is actually pretty good here. I tested it on Heihachi, and Heihachi can do it. So I think every character in the game, besides maybe Jin and Bears, they can just backdash this if you have a decent Korean backdash. All right, let's talk about Lidia. Just like with Leroy, the last set of drills covered basically everything you need to know about this character. So we just have 2 more relatively niche drills, or not niche because they're pretty important, but more specific drills that help out quite a bit. So it's 5 moves this time. First, we're going to talk about the situation after blocking a down forward 2. Any move that goes into cat stance, you can apply this counterplay, especially on block. To sidestep right duck into a throw. Right now, I have Lidia hold up into Heaven and Earth, and then press 2, because that is the fastest option out of Heaven and Earth. And you can see here, our throw just straight up beats it. Her fastest move doesn't come out fast enough. Next, we will have her do Cat 2-2, which is a 2-hit move. If you just do a sidestep right duck, the second hit will actually clip you. But you see here, if we do the step right duck into a throw, we actually just beat out the second hit. So this is a full option select for a cat stance on block, besides Lidia doing nothing. This is the only way that you can get out of holding this throw is doing literally nothing. That's why we have this option select here. The only other thing we're talking about is the situation after wall running 1. You want to do a step right duck again, but the timing is a little bit more precise. Basically, you want to wait until she's actually in Heaven and Earth, then you do a micro step duck. If you try to buffer your sidestep, the Heaven and Earth 1 can tag you sometimes, so just be mindful of that. This is what it looks like in real time. So that's the 1 option. This is the 2. And this is the 1+2. So you can see, very, very easy. If we turn all 3 of these on, this is what it looks like. Yeah, so you don't want to buffer your step. If you buffer your step, the 1 will sometimes realign. I'll actually turn on just the 1 and show you what happens if you try to buffer your sidestep. Okay, never mind. It's, yeah, there we go. So if you try to buffer your sidestep, then that can happen. So that's why I recommend waiting until you actually see her go into Heaven and Earth, then do your step. You see here, it works every time. If you buffer it, you can get tagged sometimes. All right, let's talk about Lili now. First, we're going to talk about a bug that's currently in the game. It hasn't been patched for quite a while, so it may never be patched, which is why we need to have the answer for it. We're going to have Lili do 2 backdashes into 3+4. The main reason we're doing this is that there's currently a quirk with it, where if you sidestep and then duck this while she's airborne, she like flies away and she'll be off axis, which can make your punish with. This is what it looks like. Right? So Jin's punish just completely whiffed. What you want to do is after the second backdash, you want to sidewalk left and then duck once her animation starts. After you confirm the second hit whiffs, you want to crouch cancel into your launch. The crouch cancel will realign you, which makes it so that your launch never misses. I already put out a video about this yesterday, but just in case you haven't seen it, this is the answer to this. This is what your punish is going to look like. You see, even though it looked like my punish was pretty late here, I still got a punish because Jin was able to realign thanks to the sidestep. 1, 2, 4, you want to step left after the second hit. Pretty easy. This has a ton of ending lag, so make sure that you wait for her to land. That way you don't accidentally hit her airborne. For instance, you might do something like that where you get counter hit. But if you do something like that, then you'll hit her airborne, which is not good. Back 1-4, this is only -11, so make sure that you use the right punish for this. A lot of people try to over punish this and then end up dying. So, you know, Jin, if he tries to use his 11 frame punish or something, or his 12 frame rather, his back 1-2, I can just duck the second hit and launch him. So make sure you do your 11 frame punish specifically. Next, we have down forward 3+4 into 3 different options. We have back turn 1+2, which is this launcher. We have back turn down 2, which is this low. And we have a back turn 1-2, which is this string here. What you want to do is turn all 3 of these on. After you block the cartwheel, you want to sidewalk right duck. And then if back turn 1-2 comes out, you want to stand back up before the second hit comes out. It sounds pretty complicated, but the main reason you want to do that is the second hit actually tracks pretty well. So that is how we avoid the stance. The only option we don't cover is the homing mid. This is what it's going to look like with all 3 of them on. Yeah, so obviously I messed up a few of the punches, but you can see it's pretty reliable at evading everything again except for the homing mid. Finally, we're going to talk about the situation after back 1. After back 1, we want Lili to do forward into do glide 3+4, which is this move here, and we want her to do glide 2-1. So the reason why we have these 2 options is that if we sidestep left to block after back 1, that will cover everything except for the homing mid, and then the block will cover the homing mid, of course. With do glide 3+4 in particular, the first hit will still tag you. So if I do this, you know, the first hit will still tag you here sometimes, but you can see here that depending on what actually happens, I can have the second hit completely whiff. But even if it doesn't whiff, Lili is +9 in your face here. So that's why you have both of these options on. This is what's going to look like when you're doing it right. Yeah, so not too bad. And even if you don't get the sidestep exactly right, meaning that you end up getting, you end up blocking both hits with 3+4, because she's off axis, that +6 isn't real. Up next is Miary Zo. We have a couple of reactable lows here and then a situation worth talking about, so that's going to be the focus of these drills. For the lows, we have down 3. Because of this blue tail and the fact that she's, you know, spinning and it's a high crushing move, it's very reactable despite being very fast. Then down back 3, this is also reactable, very akin to like a Lars down back 3. You do want to make sure you're ducking both of these on reaction. Now we're throwing in a couple of mids of similar speeds, so you're not just reacting to movement. And for those mids, we have up 1+2, which is that, and we have down 2. I almost forgot what move it was. So you just want to turn all 4 of these on, and then whenever the lows come out, you want to duck. Yeah, so not too bad. Again, this will require a lot of practice, but do want to make sure that you can see these lows at least some of the time. The only other thing we're talking about, this is less of like a drill in that we're solving a situation, a more of just practicing movement. What we're going to have Miary Zo do is sidestep 2 forward to go into Hwoarang, and then we're going to have her do the 4-3, which is the low. And then we're going to have her do either 1-2, which is this mid-high, or 2. These moves track opposite directions, so you basically just want to practice the movement options. If you think that 1-2 is more likely, you want to do a sidestep left duck, and if you think that 2 is more likely, you want to do a sidestep right duck. So, just so you can see what the options look like, this is if we think that more 1-2 is going to happen. Sidestep left duck will cover that. And if you're not bad, it will also cover that. Yeah, so not bad, obviously. And then if we think that more 2 is going to come out, then we do a sidestep right duck. yeah, so not too bad. Just want to practice doing the movement whenever you see either sidestep 2 or while running 2-1. Let's talk about Nina. So Nina still has quite a few moves worth talking about. Not so many situations, but she just has a lot of mid-high strength and stuff like that you need to be ducking. So let's get into it. First, we have down forward 3+4. This is wipe before. You want to duck this on reaction. This is like 20 frames. It's 20 frame startup, so you know it's pretty hard to see if you're not looking for it, but you do want to duck this on reaction. Next, we have a back 3-4. You want to duck this after the first hit. This can be delayed, as far as I know, so you still want to duck this even if it is delayed. Again, you may want to record it with a delay so that you're used to seeing the animation. 1-2-1, 1+2, you want to duck after the second hit here, and then you can just rip your launcher. Even if you have like a 16 or 17 frame launcher, you can still launch this. But do be careful. If you don't duck the third hit, this now jails, and it does a lot of checking. So you really want to make sure you're ducking after the second hit. Up forward 2-1, this is a hit confirmable launcher, which is pretty insane. If I remember correctly, it's the only hit confirmable launcher in the entire game. You just want to take your 13 frame punish here. So Brian can do that. This is probably much better if there is no wall. But yeah, you want to make sure you take a 13 frame punish, and you may want to record it with the delay so you can get used to both timings. Sidestep 2, this is -14. No one punishes this, well, let alone to launch it with their 14 frame launchers, but you do want to make sure that you are actually punishing this. So yeah, back 3+4, 1+2, you want to make sure that you duck this. This is an annoying one too, because in heat, the timing on when you stand back up is actually a little bit different because she shoots 5 bullets to 3. So it may be worth recording it with and without heat, just so you can get used to the animation and make sure that you're always waiting as long as you need to. Next, we have down 4-1 and down 4-1 into sidestep. What you want to do is after getting hit by the down 4, you want to duck and do a punish that will actually hit Nina regardless of what side she steps to. Brian is very fortunate that he can rip his while standing 1 and it will hit her regardless of what side she steps to, and it will also frame trap any option she does out of sidestep. So that is really, really good. And then obviously you will also go under this. Nina players should be very scared to use this against you, but you do want to make sure that you are labbing your character's punish. Jin's while standing 2, for instance, doesn't track Nina sidewalking to the right, I believe. So again, do want to make sure that you record her stepping in both directions and that whatever punish you do tracks both directions. So for instance, it's entirely possible that you would have to do your 13 frame punish. That way you don't have to guess what she ends up doing. Make sure whatever punish you use is consistent. Alright, Paul is up next. The first move we're going to talk about is down 1+2. This move is -18. Paul's love using this move as like a turn stealing button because on counter hit, this is what, 55 damage outside of rage, which is really good. So yeah, make sure you're watching this. Every character in the game can watch that. Next, we have a situation. This is the situation after down forward 1. After you block down forward 1, you want to do a sidestep right low parry. The only option this will not beat is down forward 1 loops if the Paul is really good. Most Pauls under God 5 probably aren't going to be able to do them very consistently. And you will also unfortunately get tagged by the homing high. It's so fast, you just don't have enough time to actually duck it and meaningfully evade the mids. If you are playing Lili or Alisa, then you will be able to cover the backsway 4, but for every other character, you do risk getting hit by it. Now, the 3 options we're recording are down forward 1 back into 1+2. I messed up there, obviously. Down forward 1 back into 3, and down forward 1 back into 2. So once all of these are on, this is what the appropriate counterplay is going to look like. Yeah, so not too bad. Super, super easy to do. Again, you do risk getting tagged by the backsway 4, but you know, that's just a risk that you end up taking. If you are going to try to account for the back sway 4, you basically get hit by all of the mids. So it's just, I just choose to get hit by the back sway 4. At least my back's not against the wall. Side step 3, just want to duck this on reaction. This isn't too bad. It's okay to not have another move because the other move out of sidestep is sidestep 1, and that's a hop. So yeah, side step 3, just want to duck it on reaction, take a 12 frame punish. Down 1-4, you will occasionally see this at round end because of how much range this low has. Even, you know, it doesn't have a clean hit for property, but you can see here it's 15 to damage low. That's really good for how far away he's hitting me from. 1, this is a minus 17 on hit, so you can do an electric and punish this. I'm bad at it, but if you are playing a Mishima, you can 100% electric this and punish it, or you can just duck. You should probably duck, that way you always get a punish because of how much it staggers. It's minus 31 on block. QCF2, find whatever your character's punish for this is. Jin can do a forward 1+2. Jin can also electric this if you're not bad. I unfortunately am bad, so I cannot electric this, at least not on Jin. I can electric this on Kazuya. But yeah, find whatever your character's punish for this. Finally, just some more block punishment. QCB 1+2, make sure you take your 12 frame punish. Most people don't actually punish this, so make sure you get your big punish, minus 14. If you're playing anyone besides exactly Lili, you're usually getting a heat meter here. Raven has a million reactable lows that most people, they just don't have the matchup experience to know what you're supposed to do against this stuff. So I figured we'd go over all of these lows here. First, we're actually going to start with 443. This is just a normal hit launcher that Raven players will use. This is minus 14. So make sure you're taking your punish here. Most people don't punish this. They either think it's safe or they like don't know how long the block recovery is. You can see here it actually recovers relatively quickly. If I like wait until he lands and then rip my punish, you can see that my punish is actually late. I need to like press it as he's landing after I've confirmed that I blocked it. Down back 4, you want to block this on reaction and take your 14 frame punish. Jin can launch this, of course, but not everyone can, so just make sure that you are taking your punish here. Same thing with down back 3, want to make sure that you take your punish here. This, unfortunately, is a jumping move, so it cannot be low parried, but this is slow enough that you can duck this on reaction. Next is while standing 3+4. You do want to make sure that every time you block one of these moves, you dash in, because this move has a huge hitbox. You can see it hits from like back here. This move has a crazy hitbox for what it is. This is a homing mid-heat engager. This is minus 12. So you want to make sure to dash in so you can actually block it and then take your 12 frame punish. Jin cannot punish this at max range. So if I block from back here, Jin does not get a punish. Some of the characters that I play still do, so Lili can still punish this, and Kunimitsu can still punish this, but Jin cannot. So make sure that if you can punish this at point blank, you are punishing it. Next, we're going to have Raven do full crouch down forward 3 into back 1+3. This will be his parry. When you're practicing punching this, you may want to turn off while standing 3+4. That way you're actually confirming that you block the low and then doing the proper punish. Because this is safe, you want to make sure that whatever punish you do works for this parry. Unfortunately, because Raven has this, like if you're a little bit late on your throw here, that's something that can happen, is that he'll actually parry the throw. This is fine if you have a back turn launcher. So someone like Lili, for instance, you could autopilot a throw and then just rip your back turn 1+2 here, and it'll just straight up launch him. Alternatively, you can wait and do a throw. You can wait and do a launcher. That is an option too. So Jin might do something like this. That's something that you can do there. Whatever you do, make sure that you are punishing this properly. If you just try to do whatever your normal punish is, you will get blown up for it, or at the very least, your punish will just miss. Back 1+2, this is just minus 15. Make sure that you do punish this. It's also worth turning on heat every now and again, because the gold version of this, all the other gold shadows are still -2, but because of this one where he makes the shadow and then Raven himself comes in, it's still -15 even though it looks different. So you want to make sure you're punishing it either way. Back turn, forward 4, 3+4, you want to duck this on reaction and launch it. Raven players love using this move, and you don't want to be lazy about letting Raven use this against you. You have to make sure that you're launching this. Again, this is a totally reactable L that Raven players love to use. In a similar vein, we have back turn down 3. Just want to make sure, again, that we are ducking this on reaction. He has so many of these reactable lows. You have to make sure that you're not getting hit by these, otherwise this matchup is a nightmare, because you're getting blown up by stuff that, quite frankly, you shouldn't be getting blown up by. Reina is next, and let's get right into it. The first move we're going to talk about is down forward 3. What this does is it puts her into her crouch dash, and she can use her while standing moves out of it. So we have down forward 3 into while standing 3-4. This is the last 2 hits of 1, 2, 3, 4 that we see in the last drill. Because this starts with only 1 hit, it's important that you're still able to duck this on reaction without the 2 jabs to telegraph this is going to happen. So just make sure that you are able to reliably duck this. Next, we want to do CD3 without the perfect input. This is -13. You want to make sure that you are punishing this. Despite the animation, she also recovers standing. This was a nerf that they ended up doing in season 1, I believe. They removed the tie crush. Because this recovers standing, you have to do, or you can do whatever punish you want. But you want to make sure that you are punishing it if they miss the judge frame. Down 1+2 puts us into Heaven's Wrath manually, and then you want to do Heaven's Wrath 4, 1, 1, 1+2. The main reason we're doing this is when you see her enter Heaven's Wrath, you want to do a side step right. Side step right is generally good counterplay against the stance. After you do the step right, you will get hit by the first hit of Heaven's Wrath 4, then you want to block on reaction. So it's going to look like this. If you don't block, this whole thing is guaranteed. And Reina players, especially in higher ranks, like, they use this a lot because they can hit confirm it after the second hit of the kick. Like, they can hit confirm the whole thing afterwards. So, and it wall splats. So you really want to make sure that after you do your step, you confirm that the first hit connects, and then you hold back before the stomp comes out. Next, we have forward 1+2. You just want to size up this on reaction. And we have forward 1+2, 3+4. Again, we also want to sidewalk this on reaction. You want to go left against Reina. There isn't really a great reason to go right, at least in the new neutral. The reason we have both of these here is that the punish for them is a little bit different. If you sidewalk this, you will get a back turn punish. And if you sidewalk this, you don't get a back turn punish. You'll get either a side punish, so what you can do is you can like step it and then step back. But yeah, you want to make sure that whatever you do, you are punishing it correctly, and the punishes can be a little bit different. Next, this is a pretty niche one, but forward 2 into a max delay 3. Reina players will typically use this to fish for counter hits, because if the second hit counter hits, she is plus 1,000,000 and she gets a Sentai 3 guaranteed. So, what a lot of people don't know, if she delays this, you can sidewalk this to the left, and you can watch this. Most people don't know this. Make sure that if you're playing against a Reina who's using this string and they are using that delay, that you are sidewalking and launching this. For the last 2 moves, we just have throws. We have our 1+2 throw, so obviously you break that 1+2. That's the niche of a Stonehead. And we have her corner circle back forward 2. This is a 2 break. She doesn't really have any other moves worth labbing, so it's good to check out her command throws. Shaheen has the smallest move list in the game, and as such, we only have 4 moves really worth talking about. First, we are going to talk about his down forward 3. No one punishes this. This is -13. It's one of the only homing mids that's unsafe. Make sure you're punishing this. No one ever punishes this. I played against a God 7 Shaheen today that did that into hop kick, and because I didn't punish it, I got clipped by the hop kick because I tried to dash it into a slow button. Make sure you punish this every time. 4-4-3, this is -12. It doesn't look like it would be -12 because it looks pretty innocuous. This is a launcher. Yeah, make sure you take your 12 frame punish. Finally, we're going to talk about sidestep 2 and sidestep 1+2. Both of these moves come out of sidestep, and despite having very similar startup speeds, the animations are different enough that you can react to this. So whenever Shaheen does this spin, the low is coming out, and if he doesn't do the spin, the mid is coming out. So you want to turn them both on and low parry the low and block the mid. Yeah, this is very, very hard, so don't feel bad if it takes you a long time to get this down. This took me 20 minutes to get 5 in a row right. This is very, very hard, and this is probably something that I'm going to be labbing basically every day. Alright, we're just going to go over some like block punishment for Steve, as well as a situation that's been going around on Twitter that is worth labbing because it's very common. So the first thing is we have a full crouch down forward 2. This is minus 15. No one launches this. Make sure that you actually launch it. Especially in higher ranks, there's a just frame combo where you do down forward 2 counter hit into you cancel out of stance, and then you rip a full crouch down forward 2. That is a just frame, but Steve risks his life every time he goes for it. Make sure you launch it. Back 2. This is minus 13. Make sure you take your 13 frame punish. I don't see enough people punish this. Make sure you're taking your punish. Same thing with up 2. This is also minus 15, but this recovers very quickly. You see here, I waited until Steve landed and it doesn't say punish. This recovers almost instantly despite being minus 15. So you need to be really, really sharp with your punish to make sure that you're actually launching this. Here's a cool side step that most people don't know that you can do. After down forward 1, if you think he's going to do one of these feints, you can actually sidewalk right to get away from the high, which is down forward 1 to 1, and the mid, which is down forward 1 to 2. Finally, let's talk about the situation I mentioned earlier. What you're going to have Steve do is 3+4 to go to quick spin and do quick spin 2. Then you're going to set up 3 different follow-ups. You're going to have him weave right with the 4 button and do 1-2 out of weave. So that's going to look like this. You're going to have Steve do up back 3 into Lionheart 1, which is going to look like this. And you're going to have Steve do back 1. What you want to do is try to find an option that cleanly answers all 3 of these. Not every character is going to have an option that beats all 3 of these, so do keep that in mind. In that case, you just want to pick one that answers as many of them as you can. I play Lili, for instance, and if I do 3-1, that will usually beat the Lionheart, and it will always beat the other 2, so 3-1 is a good pickup here. But there are some characters that just can't punish it. You want to see if your character has a good punish here. So I haven't actually tried this with Jin, so I'm just going to see what we can do here. So forward 1+2 tags the right weave. He gets blasted if he does the Lionheart, and this will beat the back 1. So okay, so let's see if we have any other buttons that might beat all of this. I'm going to try forward 4, for instance. Forward 4, we counter hit the weave. We get beat out again with the Lionheart, and the back 1 we actually trade with. So that's kind of worth it because back 1 does way less damage. But again, the Lionheart, we just don't have a good option, or so far we don't have anything great that beats both. Let's try Demon Paw. So Demon Paw will beat weave. It will beat the Outfox. And it beats the back 1. So if you're a Jin player, you want to make sure that you can hit that basically just frame Demon Paw, as that will beat all 3 options. Up next is Victor. We are almost done, so hang in there. We're starting with down back 4. You just want to try to duck this on reaction. Again, this is really, really hard. I'm not going to act like it's not hard, but if you can duck this on reaction, that is, even if it's only once a match, that's 90 damage that you weren't getting before, or that you would have had to guess in order to get. Up forward 4, a lot of Victor players use this like a panic button. This is technically a hop kick, but it instant tornadoes. This is minus 19. Make sure you take your punish here. Do not let Victor get away with using this. This is pretty similar to some of the other moves that we talked about, where this does recover pretty quickly. If you see here, if I react to when Victor lands, it actually won't punish despite me using a 15-frame move. As soon as this connects your block, you have to mash or punish, otherwise you might not get a launch. Down forward 2. Victor's down forward 2 is minus 14, which is more unsafe than these usually are. These are usually minus 12. So, minus 14, make sure you take your punish. Next, we have 2 moves here. We have full crouch down, 1+2 forward, which goes into Perfumer. And then we will do Perfumer 1 and Perfumer 3. Perfumer 3 is the best move out of Perfumer because it's a heat engager, and Perfumer 1 is a low. So you'll get hit by this, and then you will do a sidestep right duck. The low, this is typically a minus 12 low, but because you're off axis, it'll be minus 11. So you will evade that, and then you will also evade the 3. So you just want to turn these both on and allow that you will punish because this will be a backturn launch. Yeah, so not too bad. Obviously, it messed with the last punish, but I'm bad and fat fingered the wrong button. Back 1-2. This second hit can be delayed, so you may want to record it with the delay. Make sure that you are ducking this. If you try to be a hero and press into this, then this will happen. So just make sure that you're actually ducking the hero, even with the delay. Forward 2-4, duck and launch after the first hit. You will occasionally see the other one, but the other one doesn't do anything besides some damage and give Victor a mix-up. It doesn't wall splat or anything like that, or a knockdown. So basically, I would always duck here, which is why I have you guys doing a duck on forward 4-2. Finally, we have up back 1-1. This is minus 14. Just take your 14 frame punish. Again, this can be delayed, so do make sure that, you know, if you do end up blocking this, that you time it with and without the delay. That way you're not pressing into it and getting blown up. That will wall splat you. Alright, let's talk about Xiaoyu. Back 1+2. Xiaoyu players use this move a lot. This is one of the best whip punishers in the entire game. Make sure you take your 13 frame punish here. Because Xiaoyu players will use it as a whip punish so much, they may occasionally get it wrong. Make sure that you blow them up for getting it wrong. Standing 3, this is a 14 frame launcher. This is minus 11 on block, and it has a literally negative pushback. If this connects on your block, Xiaoyu will set the distance to 1.3. Every character in the game will be able to get a 10 frame punish, or 11 frame, obviously. Make sure that you do punish this. If this is treated like it's safe, this move is insanely powerful. Next, we want to do up back 3 down. Up back 3 is a super evasive launcher that is minus 13 on block. The issue is that if Xiaoyu does AOP down, it might go under your 13 frame punish, so you need to find a relatively fast mid that will actually tag this. So you see here, if I try to do Jin's down forward 1, that is his 13 frame punish, she goes under it. If I try to hop kick, she goes under it. Jin's can will work here, so this is your punish for this move. Next, we have back turn, which is back 3+4 into back turn 1+2-4. After these first 2 hits, you just want to duck. Even though Xiaoyu is turned around here, if you duck this move, your launch will be a normal launch. You can see here she ends up in back turn if you can block it. But yeah, if you duck it, you'll get a normal launch. Make sure you duck and launch that. Next, we want to practice punishing Xiaoyu safe low. We are going to do jab into down back 2 into back 1+3. So this is what it's going to look like. You want to duck the low and then find a punish that actually works here. Jin can hop kick this. If you have a hop kick will always work, so that is a good option. You can also throw here. That's not a bad option. Obviously, if Xiaoyu has a hard read on either of this, that she has counterplay, but most Xiaoyu players, their level 1 is to use the parry. Next, we're going to do down 1+2 to go into AOP, up forward 3. We want to do the up forward to do this aerial jump and then do 3 in air. This low is extremely slow, so if you see her like jump and then it looks like an empty jump, you just want to duck on reaction. The mid is so much faster here that there is never any mix up here. This is minus 18. Every character in the game can launch it. Next, we have AOP 3+4. So down 1+2 again to go to AOP, and then we do the 3+4. This is minus 33 on block. Again, this is also reactable, and you get a float combo if you block this. So make sure that you know what your float combo is. You know, Jin's is something like that. Finally, we have back 3+4, which goes into back turn, 1-2. This has a decent amount of pushback, so depending on your character, you may have a hard time punishing this. All of Jin's punishes seem to work here, so I wouldn't worry about it if you're playing Jin, but, you know, just be careful with whatever character you're playing. Make sure your punish actually works. Alright, up next is Yoshi. We're going to talk about his While Standing 1 series. This is more of a timing mix-up than, you know, a mid-high mix-up or anything like that. Basically, after While Standing 1, we have a couple of options. We have these two highs here into a mid. If you notice, if I try to punish this high and I'm a little bit late, I'll get hit out of it. Compare that to While Standing 1-2-1, where there's just this one high and it doesn't matter what Yoshi does, I can always launch it. So what you want to do is turn both of these on. If you see Yoshi backhand, then it's 1-2-1. You want to just duck, immediately launch over the backhand. If you see him do like the head smashes with the hilt, then you want to wait for the second one to come out before launching. This is what it's going to look like. Yeah, so not too bad at all. Definitely really easy to do. Just, you have to get used to the animations because it's very easy to press too early and stand up into the While Standing 1-1-1-1. Down 4-2+3, take your 13 frame punish. No one punches this. It recovers pretty quickly and it comes out really fast, so people aren't used to, you know, having to punish these kinds of moves. Make sure you take your punish. If you don't, this move is broken because it's a high crushing counter hit launcher. Up 2, you want to use a jumping move on reaction here. This will be to both him finishing it and him going into crouch. The only way that he can beat this is if he cancels into crouch and then stands back up, but your jumping move will basically always beat that as well. You do want to try to time your jumping move for when he's landing so you get the full launch, right? Because if I go too early, I'll just hit him airborne. You do want to try to time this for when he lands, but, you know, it is what it is. Next, we want to do 1+2 to go into Kincho, and then do Kin back 1+2. This is this unblockable here. It's like a backswing blow into unblockable. Use 1-2 sidewalk left on reaction. That is the easiest way to deal with this. If you have a long range counter hit launcher, you can use that as well. You can see here, Jin forward 4 has pretty good range, and obviously it does a trillion damage out of the combo, but yeah, that is a very, very strong move, and that's something that you can do as well. If you have one of these long range moves, use that. Otherwise, just sidewalk left on reaction. You can go right if you want to, but typically going left against Yoshi is the direction you want to move anyways. Next, we're going to talk about forward 3+4, 1+2, 3+4. It's this string here. So you have a couple of options. First, you could take your 12 frame punish. That is an option. Alternatively, you can sidewalk right. If you sidewalk right, you will get a back turn launch, but this is obviously very, very good depending on your character's back turn punishment. Whichever one works for you. Typically, I prefer the sidewalk right. If for whatever reason Yoshi decides to stop, the string is a -31 after the second hit, so you can do whatever you want to punish that. Next, we're actually going to go over some punishment settings. What we want to do with Yoshi is we want to have him set to stand and then punish after getting hit or blocking. We want to set our punishment settings to flash, spin left, and spin right. What we want to do here is find an option that beats all three of these. So for instance, if I'm playing a character like Lili, I can down forward 4-4 here, and that will beat flash. So that is really good. Let's see if it beats both of the spins. So it will beat spin left. That is really good. The only issue is it doesn't actually beat spin right. So Yoshi can launch this, which is very scary. As a consequence, we need to check out some different moves. So let's try again. This is one that I labbed just a few minutes ago. So if you're playing Lili, here's what you can do. you can actually just rip your 3+4 here, and you're not close enough to him when the flash goes off. So obviously it's homing, so it will track spin left and spin right. You're playing a character with a 14 frame or faster homing move that will beat every option that Yoshi has. Yeah, just make sure you lab your character's punishes for these scenarios. If you're playing Lili, 3+4 is very, very good here. If Yoshi is like really cracked, he can dash flash you on -9. That would be a crazy call out, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing I've seen from a Yoshi player. Finally, let's talk about Zafina. First, we're going to talk about her 1+2. This move is really good. It's a counter hit launcher that is a -12. So you see here, if I press something, I will get counter hit launched. Not only that, this has 2 extra hits, and the second hit is a counter hit launcher, and the last hit, I believe, is just a normal hit launcher. So if I can do this, yeah, that's just a normal hit launcher. So yeah, the string is pretty good, right? The string is very over-dimensioned. Fortunately, the counterplay is pretty easy. The first hit by itself is -12. The second hit is -10. And the third hit, if you mash your 10 frame punish on the second hit, you will just interrupt the third hit anyways. So this is what's going to look like when you have all 3 of them on. Right, so not too bad. Definitely pretty easy once you get used to it. If you don't get used to it, it may be worth just leaving the first hit unpunished and always looking to jab out after the second hit. That is certainly an option if you want something easier, but ideally you do want to be taking your punish on the first hit if you see it by itself. Next, we have down 3. You want to try to duck this on reaction and take your 13 frame punish. This is reactable, so you do want to make sure you're punishing it. If you don't, this is one of her best lows because she's like +4 or something in the Mantis, either +4 or +5, something really plus where you just kind of have to guess. Definitely want to practice ducking this on reaction. Down back 2, 1+2. This is very similar to the down forward 1-2, 1+2. You want to interrupt this with a 13 frame move. This doesn't crush, even though you see her like bend down a little bit while she's charging this. This is no crushing. You want to make sure that you interrupt this. Because this is only 1 hit into this string, this is much harder to interrupt than the down forward 1 version, but you still want to make sure you're interrupting it. Next, we have 2 moves from Scarecrow. We have Scarecrow, which to get into that stance is 3+4, and then we have Scarecrow 3-3. You want to duck after the first hit and launch this. And then we have Scarecrow down 4. We have both of these on, so you're not just reacting to her going into Scarecrow. This is also launch. Everyone in the game can launch this at this -25, and it's reactable. Turn both of these on. This is what's going to look like. Yeah, so not too bad. If you want to add in other options, other reactable options of Scarecrow, you can. These 2 are fine, though. I think they're a good place to look. Finally, we have down back 4-2. This is exceptionally hard to do, but if you can do this, it's really cool. So, down back 4-2 is this string. If you duck the first hit, the second hit will still launch you. You have to stand back up, but it's -13. So, you can just take your 13 frame punish if you want to be regular. But if you want to be cool, you can actually duck this on a reaction and then sidewalk left and launch. This is exceptionally hard to do, especially over the course of a real game. But if you really want to have, that leg up against Zafina, being able to do that is really, really good. All right, and with that being said, we are finally at the end of the video. Again, really appreciate you guys for watching. This video in particular took a really, really long time to make, so any support that I can get, I would really appreciate it. Beyond that, now that this video is done, just my life in general was ultra busy for the last few months, and basically everything that was making it be busy is gone now. So we will be back to streaming regularly and just making more content in general. I will have significantly more free time now than I did over the last couple of months. I just finished up school, so the last couple of months I was trying to make content and, you know, make sure I'm still playing the game regularly, and also go to Combo Breaker, and also, you know, prepare for another tournament, and also, you know, yeah, it's a lot, but we're done now, so getting back to content is going to be much easier for me. So, yeah, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you soon.